Welcome one, welcome all to the English language broadcast of Thailand Super Series here at Chung International Circuit for the final round of the 2025 season. We're bringing you Friday racing here. Very short broadcast. We've got 3 races coming up for today's action, of course. You can see it right there. Thailand Super Pickup Division 2 is the first race of the day here after all the practices and qualifyings and warm-ups and whatnots. We're going to be going for Super Eco after this, and we'll round things off with Super Pickup Division 1. Bringing it to you live here on Speed Cafe's socials and also the Thailand Super Series official YouTube channel. It's myself, Reese Gardner, with David Haynes alongside me in the commentary box, and Dan Yeaman is the one pressing all the buttons behind the scenes and making sure that we all receive this footage live from the circuit. Well, David, this is going to be a short and sweet one. I think it's going to be a fun time indeed. I always love it when the pickups come out on track.
Yeah, great way to get this big weekend underway with a 12-lap race from Super Pickup, 12 laps of Super Eco, and then 12 laps of Super Pickup D1. It is the final round of Thailand Super Series for the year, and they are making it a big one.
Yeah, that they are. Goody, of course, will be in the pits, and we'll, depending on the driver, interview them in English, and we'll make sure to zip our lips when he's doing that. But this is the conclusion of what has been a pretty hard-fought championship in Thailand Super Pickup. The Class B driver standings, the number 89 of Surachai Pengfong is currently leading the championship on 65 points, but Super Mongkol is the one who is on pole position for this particular round of the series. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he can turn this one into, because notoriously, I recall the final races of last season, the pickups can be notoriously unreliable at times, so hopefully those who qualify up the front will be able to stay there.
Yes, we look forward to seeing this. The Toyota Hilux Champ, pretty sure, is in D1.
Yes, I believe it is.
But seeing recently that it's going to get a sibling in the form of a new Toyota Land Cruiser on the same platform. I saw the reveal of that concept car and I went, that looks a whole lot like the Toyota Hilux Champ. And so for every market that gets that, presumably Japan and Thailand and some others, they could be very excited for a new, capable, but hopefully affordable off-roader.
Yes, indeed. It's certainly going to be interesting to see where the market goes in the coming years and what models we can expect to see on the grid for this upcoming for the upcoming seasons of Thailand Super Pickup. But I think where it is at the present is a really good place to be. Like, it's a hugely competitive field. We've got some very fantastic, entertaining drivers in this field, piloting some very interesting machinery. You know, we have V8 Super Utes down here in Australia, and I gotta say, as good as V8 Super Utes is, I like the way that TSS has gone for these super pickup classes. You have these thick black clouds of smoke that descend over the circuit. You have penalties regarding how much smoke you're allowed to put out. There's a lot of freedom in terms of the bodywork and what you can fit on the car to supposedly improve the aerodynamic performance. These things are bricks in any case, so we're not sure exactly how much all the wings and flippy bits do on these cars, but it certainly makes for a fun experience watching.
My amateurish understanding of aerodynamics would say that all of these rear wings work so long as you put them somewhere that does actually get airflow. So what is the air doing over the cab? Is it finding a way to then actually reach the rear wings? But there's so much character to these cars with that. There's the 3-minute board, and big weekend kicks off with Friday racing from Buriram Circuit.
Yeah, that it does. Got the 3-minute warning then to get on to the grid and or to get off the grid if you're a supplementary team member, a mechanic and such. It'll just be the drivers and a few others for the moment before things get started here. Starting a bit further down in the field, Somnuk in the number 79. He'll be looking to move his way forward. We've got a great turnout, great number of trucks that have jumped in for this final round of the championship. And this being Chang International Circuit, there's a lot of pitfalls, a lot of potential for crashes, a lot of potential for great racing as well on the flip side. This is a modern venue with plenty of runoff. That doesn't stop the drivers from trying to push the limits from time to time.
I think it goes and invites everyone to push the limits when there's so much space and grace given. Itasak is keen. Oh, I speak this language. That is, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to shimmy, shake, and press on and move forward from here.
Indeed, Jakapan is evidently praying that he can avoid the inevitable biff and barge on the first lap here. I'm sure that we'll see a couple of trucks come out of this one with a few dings and dents, but it's all in good fun. We always love watching these cars, well, trucks rather, go around these circuits at max speed. The sheer amount of torque that these diesel engines produce means that we have quite a bit of oversteer out of the slower corners on these trucks as well. And mechanical grip is sparing at best, so you'll be seeing the drivers muscling these machines through every single corner. And right there, that puff of black smoke right there, they want to try and minimize that over the course of the race. You are allowed to emit a certain amount of black smoke, but you get beyond a certain amount, you start drawing the attention of race control, and they will assign you a penalty. The safety car pulling away to lead us around here for the formation lap. Final adjustments being made as we will get our sighting lap ready of this fantastic Chang International Circuit in Thailand. Just outside Buriram. And away they will move. H-pattern gearboxes in these things as well. So the drivers will be doing the dance of heel-toe in the braking zones. So, through turn one, down this back straight they'll come. Nice opportunity to suss out this circuit and suss out where we are, where we're going, where everyone is starting in particular. So Thailand Super Pickup, this is Division 2. So we're not seeing the Division 1 drivers competing in this one. Chang International Circuit has become famous for hosting superbike racing, MotoGP as well. It's a challenging circuit on 2 wheels and just as challenging on 4 wheels as well. That middle sector is going to be a tough one for sure. Plenty of twists and turns around the back half of this circuit, but the stretch from turns 1 to 3 and down to turn 4 will provide great opportunities for slipstreaming and overtaking. We'll undoubtedly see some moves into turn 12, the final corner as well. And the run into pit lane is just off the apex there. The Ventus RS4 by Hankook, the tyre being used for both Super Pickup and Super Eco, which we are going to be seeing today as well, I believe. A couple of very different categories using the same kind of tyre there. The trucks definitely have a lot more weight to put through that rubber, so you'll see a lot of sliding. It's certainly spectacular if you've never seen it before. Super Monkol starting on pole position alongside Sangchai, with Witaya Rayai and Thanawas on the second row. In 5th place, Arnafap Sriklang and Tasanai Jaimun, with Kiatasak Chujon and Tanafak Sukjaran on row number 4. Rounding out the top 10, we'll have Somnuk Piantam and Krid Prayudstub. Kitasak in the number 52 is going to start in 11th place, with the number 69 of Thanawat alongside him. Itasak Kaudi and Jakapan Wanarat will round out the 14 machines to begin this race here. 12 laps on the clock. And we'll get a check-in with the weather as well. Looks like a pretty warm track at the moment. Usual reasonably high humidity. And, yeah, sort of high 20s. Air temperature. It's looking like a good day to go racing.
Yeah, not excessively hot, still a little bit sticky at that 86% relative humidity. Got a bunch of cloud around, obviously. It's keeping that asphalt temperature not that much higher than the ambient air temperature. On a really sunny day, obviously, it can climb incredibly high. If you've ever, tried to walk barefoot to your car in the middle of a car park and realize exactly how hot the road can get when the sun's out. I've raced a couple of times on Hankook RS4s. They're a very, very durable tyre for that sort of thing. They make a great control tyre for a category, and there are lots of other categories that around the world that use that tyre. These ones got a very much more brightly printed sidewall, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, coming down to the final corner, we'll get ready for the start here. And Super Monkol Detpech will lead us away here, waiting for the call of the green flag. A rolling start for this one. Look for that cloud of smoke to descend over the circuit, especially from the back of the field, as the green flag flies, and we are away for Thailand Super Pickup Division 2. Too wide on the way into turn 1. It looks like Sanchai, trying round the outside, is going to take the lead out of turn 1. And Super Monkol is left in the dust, so to speak, as they all almost go off the track there at turn 1. Now things start to get a little bit compact, as you see on the rear bumper, the tailgate of the machine in front, as the crush comes into turn 3. Where do you find the space? Plenty of 2 wide and 3 wide action throughout this field, but looks to me like Sangchai has had a pretty good time there up the front. Super Monkol has managed to maintain second place, but the number 26 of Tasanai there going all the way up from 6th to 3rd here on the first lap. Pretty good start.
A couple of good onboards, one of them including Itasak Kaudi there, who was planning to shimmy and shake and move his way forward. We'll see if he can keep that one up. Now things get a little bit tighter, a little more change of direction, and you've probably got to respect those track limits a little bit more from here.
Whoa, look at the run there from Super Monkol, managing to grab the lead back, it seems, from Sangchai. Coming into the final sector of the lap. These twisty sections of the circuit, you see the drivers push the limits quite a bit. And, well, at least further back in the field, Super Monkol, on the other hand, seems to have quite the handle on his truck. Barely a hint of oversteer from the number 58, as they're already at the end of the first lap. Looks like there could be a move for 3rd. Got to keep an eye out behind there. Tasanai Jaimun is going to have his hands full here as the 77 of Arnapap Sriklang, round the outside of the final corner, has to take to the runoff area. Barely manages to keep the car going straight. And it would seem that Tasanai has the run out of the final corner. But is there going to be another attempt from the 77 into turn 1? Not quite. It's a very open first corner here at Chung International Circuit. You can make moves there if you play your cards right, but this early in the race, it's probably better to stay behind and wait for a better opportunity down the straight.
Like this one, in our battle for third place, Sangchai sort of moves across to defend his second place as they're battling in behind him, and you've got this significant body roll, and it's mainly about managing the dynamic weight transfer and grip transfer of the vehicle. Your race leader Super Moncol is doing very well, and that they all need to keep in mind to not get so far ahead of themselves trying to drive these vehicles.
So too wide into turn 4 doesn't always work, and it would seem that Tassanai has decided discretion is the better part of valor, and will allow Arnafap Sriklang to move along here. Arnafap making some great moves up there into P2 for now, but gotta wonder with the pace that the likes of Sangchai Wanathim can do, how long he's going to hold on to that.
Tyre warm-ups also pretty important for a 12-lap race on these kinds of tyres. They don't give a whole lot of grip when they're cold. As they come in, it's the fastest middle sector for Arnafap. So having released himself through, he's now in hunt of the race lead. And we've got one on pit lane that looks to be Crid Praedsa.
Yeah, looks like Crid unfortunately has had to take back to the pits. Not entirely sure of the reasoning, but we should be able to see that as, whoa, that's a big moment there through the final corner. 4 cars up the back. That's the number 17 of Jakapan Wanarat. Just managing to hold on to it. He's chasing down the 30 of Itasak Kaudi and Thanawas Tangchit Manisal in 5th place, just rounding out that top 5 there. And there's more moves to be made here, as it looks like Itasak is going to try and go for it here. Alongside
being precise with that steering, you see how slow the steering rack is in these things. They're crossing, you know, hand over hand, and then in that situation it's difficult to be precise with your inputs, but you need to be, and that's a fair chunk of understeer.
That is very wide, and contact on the exit there for Itasak. He'll lose all of that momentum and fall back down the order by a couple of positions. Thanawas gets back past him. There's a lot of jumping and jiving going on throughout this entire field. Another thing that I love about this category is you never know who's going to be in what position at the end of a lap. Someone's going to try and pull a move. Someone's going to make a mistake. Great racing every track we come to for this series. Back into the twisties then, and see that the number 30 is taking a lot of curb in that section of the circuit. They do need to be careful of that, especially here at Chung, because the TSS stewards are a big fan of handing out track limit violations penalties. You've got to make sure to keep it within the white lines.
Having started from 12th on the grid, we ride on board with the number 30 of Itasak, and he crossed the start-finish line in 6th last time, so he's moved his way basically halfway up the field. He's got hands all over the place, trying to keep this thing under control, doing his gear shifts, trying to steer down the inside and take another spot back.
But he pushes too deep on the exit of the final corner again. It seems like the number 30's having trouble with those brakes. And Itasak will lose out to Thanawas once again. But I think on the other side of that coin, Itasak seems to have quite a bit of speed down the straights, so a lot of potential for the move to be made back there. You can almost see him physically getting closer there from that camera angle, but unfortunately for the 17 and the 56, that's Jakapan Wanarat and Kiatasak Chujorn. They have both gotten penalties from race control for black smoke. Exactly that you saw right there. They need to be careful not to dump too much black smoke out of these machines. And you can see that Jakapan is emitting black smoke all the way down the straight, essentially. So, yeah, race control not too happy with that one. And, oh dear, bad news for Itasak as well. Black and white flag for exceeding track limits. They will have a couple of warnings like that. It's not a penalty, but it's just a sign that Itasak might have to be a bit more careful about where he places his vehicle.
And also be a little bit more careful about going off track, carrying that momentum and completing a pass with it. I think that's what's going to be most frowned upon. Like if you just use the runoff to just go straight around the outside of someone versus, you know, it happening as you make a mistake or something like that.
Yeah, indeed. Battle's starting to form now for third place. Tassanai Jaimun getting chased down by Sangchai Wanathim. But out front, Super Mongol is having the time of his life. This is a position that we've seen Super Mongol in quite a few times. At the end of the last lap, he was leading by 5.6 seconds. And we'll have to wait and see what the gap is like this time. It's ballooned out to 6.2 seconds now, nearly 6.3. So Super Mongol is holding on to some beautiful, consistent pace at the moment. And with 8 laps to go, it's difficult to see anyone catching him if things stay as they are, but it rarely does in this category.
Yeah, Super Mongol's got a nice little gap, especially for the fastest lap. So his personal best, more than a second quicker than anyone else, particularly quicker than Anafat in second, who looked like he might have been able to catch somewhat, and Tassanai in third. It's sort of 4th through to 8th, I think, where you get a lot of this battling, including Jakapan Wanarat there in 5th place. So 3rd, 4th, 5th on your screen right now. It's one thing when they make smoke, you know, immediately coming off throttle into the braking zone. When you make smoke on the gear shifts, but that 17 does look to be leaving smoke the whole way the length of the straight at every opportunity, more than some of the others around.
There's a move up the inside from Sangchai Wanathim, and he forces Tassanai Jaimun wide, but looks like that number 26 is holding on very nicely to the position. One of the great things about this circuit is that almost every corner, the inside of one exit becomes the outside on entry, and so you can use that to defend your position if and when it is required. But lurching all over the circuit there is, I believe that's Jakapan Wanarat there in the number 17, who's already got that warning for black smoke. Looks to me like he's having a bit of trouble keeping it straight. More black and white flags for the 86 and the 12. That's Thanafax, Sukjaran, and the 12 of Thanawas. A bit too many track limit violations going on for race control's liking as the 17 makes its way into the pits there. And I believe that will be a drive-through for Jakapan Wanarat. The rest of them can keep going as they are, but that might be another black and white flag heading the way of Sangchai and the number 90. Bit too much curb on the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, but an otherwise entirely engrossing battle going back and forth with Tassanai Jaimun here. And that looks like drive-through penalty served. Do they have something they can adjust to make it smoke less from here on out? Did they make any change to it? I doubt they did in that time. And you can see in the back for Sangchai Wanathim a little bit of equipment. Hopefully also packed his lunch and some tools.
Yes, indeed. Could probably fit a go-kart in that tray as well. Do a bit of extra racing this weekend.
That could be a good category.
Venue.
Make a relay out of it.
Hey, yeah, that's an idea.
If it's a 2-stroke go-kart, and at least initially it might also smoke as much, but it would clean up as the race went along.
That certainly would. Well, some cars haven't been cleaning up for the moment. Next to fall victim, it seems, is the 79 of Songnuk Gyantam. I'm hearing news that he's about to be given a warning from race control for black smoke as well. This, for the moment, is the closest battle on track, and that number 90 is one of the highest operating cars in terms of speed as well. We've had the number 30 be the quickest truck in a straight line. I believe Itasak holding on to 213 kilometers per hour as the highest top speed recorded at the speed trap thus far.
Yeah, starting out at 12th or 13th on the grid, making his hand signals like, what are you going to do in this race? Well, I'm going to go to the right, I'm going to go to the left, I'm going to move forward. And that seems to be happening. Got himself up into 5th after that ongoing battle, and also some penalties for others. That is some monstrous understeer at the final corner in this battle. Find Somnok Piantam some warnings heading his way. Find Kitasak and Danafak 9th, 10th and 11th right here.
That's a good exit for the number 79, but Kitasak in the 52 will go defensive. Looks like maybe a lift out of the throttle there from Somnuk Piantam. He's not going to go for the move for now. Check back in with our leader, Super Moncol. He's been very consistently setting lap times about anywhere from a second to 1.5 seconds faster than anyone else at the moment. It's been sheer domination from the 58 so far at this halfway point of the race. All he needs to do is hold on for another 6 laps or so. He just looks like he's cruising out there at the moment.
That's always what's so interesting about seeing someone go so fast, but just look so much more under control than everyone else. And when you see from some of the off-boards and some of the on-boards exactly how much work it is driving these, you can see why gently giving the inputs and trying to coax it would be a very difficult thing to do on these tyres that also carry a lot of slip angle before they give grip.
Indeed. Oh, have a look at that slide on entry there. Oh my goodness, it's looking a little bit out of control there for Arnefap Strickland, who holds on nicely to second place for the moment. Truck pulling over in the background there. That might be Crid Pryadsub. Speaking of Crid Pryadsub, he's gotten another race control ping for Black Smoke. Not the first time we've seen that. So that's unfortunate for the 82 team. Won't be getting the result that they were looking for here today.
Only truck in the field that's not classed as an Isuzu D-Max, but instead a Chevrolet Colorado. You've got previous generation D-Max facelift, and all new current generation D-Max. Far more variety to come in Division 1, including, and I am shamelessly just a fan of the Hilux Champ.
So am I. I love seeing it out there. That's drive-through penalty complete for Somnuk Piantam for Black Smoke, and race control is handing them out like Oprah hands out cars at the moment. Car number 42 looks to be the next one to get a Black Smoke warning / penalty. Wataya Rayai, the next to fall victim to that. As we keep checking in with this battle for second here, it's spaced out a little bit more, but Sangchai is looking fast. He was the quickest on track last lap. We'll wait and see what the gaps are this time. So Super Moncol seems to have backed off the pace a little bit, set a 2-minute .5 or so on the last lap. 1:59.8 for Arnefap Sricklang, so he's well in control at the moment. Sangchai in the 90, not able to match that time for the moment, but still faster than Super Moncol by a few tenths on that last lap. I get the feeling that now the lead's out to about 10 seconds. Super Moncol is just trying to look after his truck to the end. There's Crid Pryadsub coming in for his drive-through. And
in the Chevy Colorado.
Yes, indeed. So that tells me that the truck we saw pulling over a little bit earlier was not Crid.
Might have been Thanawat.
Yeah, must have been Thanawat in the number 69. Regardless, in comes the 17 again, and it looks like this might be a retirement for Jakapan Wanarat. Problems with the truck, and he is out from 8th place. That's really unfortunate.
Well, in a category where we notice every truck making a little bit of black smoke, it's tough to stand out, and that number 17, unfortunately, I think pretty clearly did consistent smoke in the straight line, not just those key points like the gear shifts and immediately going off throttle and the braking zones. It's like Dunlap just rolling over to let TSS Chujon go through. And I think Sangcho Onathin had been sort of battling for third, has cleared away from that and is beginning to close in on the second place. So that could be a one to watch in the final laps of this Friday race of Super Pickup Division 2.
Indeed. Unfortunately, there's bad news if you're following car number 90 right there. Oh no, Sangchai coming under the auspices of race control for black smoke, so that might have to be a drive-through for the machine running in third, and we got a spin for the number 12 of Thanawas. Where is that? That's a turn. That's at the final corner, so I'm not sure exactly how that happened, whether that was a solo error or another truck was involved, but certainly not a place you want to see a truck splayed across the track. It looks like we might see what's happened here. Oh, he lost the rear on the way into the last turn. Easy to do when you're having to shift down with an H pattern and use the clutch on downshifts in these cars. It can be very easy to lock up the rears. These trucks are rear-wheel drive, of course. So some unfortunate time lost there.
Yeah, you've seen some others get in there with a whole load of steering lock and understeer as well. So whichever way it goes, it's challenging. Taya Rayai leaves pit lane as 30 gets a final warning for track limits.
It's almost always in these final few laps that we really start to see the penalties pile up for people. So it's looking to me like Itisak Kaudi is going to have to tighten his belt somewhat. The fight for second ongoing here between Arafat Stricklang and Sangchai Wanathim, but remember that Sangchai has the black smoke hanging over his head, literally and figuratively. So he may have to make a tour through the pits before the race is done, and that will leave Arafat with barely any pressure from behind, and he can take a second place in the third last race of the season. As into the pits there goes the number 90. And where is Sangchai Wanathim going to come out of this one? He was guaranteed a podium spot were it not for that black smoke. How long does a tour through pit lane at Chung International Circuit take? How much will it cost him? We will find out in a few moments, I'm sure. But Super Moncol back into the 159s up front. Barely any complaints from him as the 90 tours through the pit lane. 60 k's an hour through the pits here at Chung International Circuit. We'll have to wait a few moments to see exactly where he's panned out in the field.
Yeah, field spread's been not insignificant, and it's not the most punishing drive-through I've ever seen.
Not the longest pit lane here at Chung International Circuit either, so while it does cost you quite a bit, especially towards the end of a race, it's certainly not the worst in terms of pit lanes we traverse here in the Thailand Super Series.
Bungsen, for example, much more significant as it protrudes from the racetrack, and you would drive through and then re-emerge at the same corner that you left the track. Here you enter from the outside of the final corner and then rejoin around after the first corner.
Looks like the window netting is flapping about a bit there on Super Moncol's truck. But he looks as untroubled as ever as he comes across the line to start the final lap of race 6, Thailand Super Pickup Division 2. holds on to a lead of what is now 13.7 seconds at the line. Arnefap Strickland has dropped off the pace a bit here, setting a 2:03 on the last lap. I don't know if there was a problem for Arnefap on the last lap, but Sangchai Wanathim will undoubtedly be dropping down the order here, waiting for him to cross the line to see where he's at, and it looks like he's rejoined in 5th place. So off the podium for now. Super Mongol encountering a bit of traffic there, and that's going to be, I think, the only drama that he sees on this final lap. Touch wood. We've certainly seen things go very wrong for leading drivers in the past in this championship. But I love watching this guy drive. He just looks supremely in control of his machine at every point.
With the dynamic nature of these vehicles, how much roll they get, it must be very difficult to anticipate how much grip you're going to get when you turn into the corner. But it seems like he always knows what is going to be the result of the input, and therefore exactly what input to give to get the most out of every corner.
Well, he gets the most out of every corner on this lap for sure, and this is going to be sheer domination from Super Mongol Detpech, who started from pole position, briefly lost the lead in the early stages of the race, but quickly got it back, and then it was just eyes forward from that point on. Round the final corner he comes to take victory in the first of our Super Pickup races this weekend. Super Mongol Detpech with a fantastic drive to P1. And now we begin the long wait for second place, Arnefap Strickland. He managed to hold off quite a bit of pressure at the very end there. He's going to come across the line there, and the 26 wasn't too far behind. Looked like Tassanai Jaimun could have had a look at second place if things had gone a little bit differently. Itisak Kaudi grabbing 4th places after the tour through the pits for Black Smoke. Sangchai Wanathim has to settle for P5 after almost getting onto the podium earlier on in the race.
There's your winner. Questions maybe soon to be answered about the window net there. But supremely well done in every category, starting from the pole position, winning the race, taking a fastest lap of the race of a minute 57.9, and then not really feeling the need to trouble that kind of lap time again, just measuring it out to the end of the 12 laps.
Yes, Super Mongol, Arnefap and Tassanai, your podium, and well, there's the best lap times there. Worth pointing out that the first place in terms of top speed was Itisak Kaudi, who finished just off the podium, 213 kilometers per hour down the straight. That is about 7 or 8 k's an hour faster than anyone else could manage, but Super Mongol, the most consistent performer of the day there, managing to set that best lap time just under 1 minute and 58 seconds. So that'll bring things to a close here for the first part of today's action. Don't forget, we still have 2 more races coming up today. We got Super Eco coming up next, and then Super Pickup Division 1, which is going to be one of the highlights of the weekend for me. We've got a full race program here today. We've got pretty much every category of Thailand Super Series here today, and we'll be looking forward to seeing everyone strut their stuff over the course of Saturdays and Sundays running as well. But a celebratory drive to pit lane here for Super Mongol Detpech, and he should be very satisfied with his performance. That's very solid finish indeed for the 58, and I'm sure we'll get them speaking to Goody very shortly. That is, if we end up getting audio from Goody's microphone. We have been having a couple of issues getting relevant audio behind the scenes today, so if we do not end up hearing from the drivers, we do apologise. Regardless, I think everyone on the podium will be very happy with how things have gone for them. And don't forget, this isn't the last race they're going to do this weekend. There's going to be 2 more over the course of Saturday and Sunday's running. So the track schedule for tomorrow, it's looking like we'll be seeing Super Pickup Division 2 racing tomorrow as the second race competition of Saturday. We're going to open things up with Super Touring early in the morning. Then we'll be seeing both of Super Pickup classes racing on either side of lunchtime. Super Eco's race 7, and then we have the GT4 GTC and GT3 GTM supercar races happening tomorrow afternoon. So visit the Thailand Super Series website to grab the weekend program, the race schedule, and mark those dates in your calendar if you're so inclined. You'll be right here with us on the TSS YouTube channel, bringing you that English language stream of this event. So, brief chat that Goody is having with our podium getters here. I think Tasanai Jaimun certainly had a lot of potential in this one. Remember, he was going for the lead at one point early on in the race, so wonder if he can strike back in tomorrow's race.
You can see where they're conducting this interview as well. It's just in front of some of the garages for GT3 and GT4. So a couple of Porsches getting, worked on, weighed, measured, aligned in the background there in preparation for tomorrow's racing. They would have been on track earlier today across the free practice sessions. They go racing today here on Friday to kick things off. Like you said, Super Pickup D2, Super Eco and Super Pickup D1 to round out the day as we get there.
Yes, and the Super Eco race should be getting going in about 20 minutes' time. So we'll be signing off very shortly for a quick break on our end of things, but we will indeed be back for the Super Eco event. And it's going to be a standing start for Super Eco as well. So all the more chance for drivers to stall on the starting grid and cause a bit of chaos, but I'm sure that we'll be getting a great race regardless. Super Eco is another one of the categories I think is very underrated as part of the TSS roster.
We've got to learn our Yaris Actives from our Corollas and Honda Cities for that category.
Indeed, a wide variety of machinery taking place here this weekend. Just about every engine configuration you can think of. Front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, engine in the front, engine in the back, engine in the middle of the car. I do love seeing the sheer diversity of machinery over the course of TSS competition. Well, looks like they're already getting set up there for Super Eco, but before we sign off for our little break here, run back through the competition here. So Super Moncol losing the lead in turn 1 to the number 90, but managing to get it back in short order. Things got a little bit leery on the way down to turn 3. There's Super Moncol getting the lead back from the number 90. And in the lead, Super Moncol would stay.
Itasak making some of those moves as he went from 12th place up to 5th. This is an onboard of some of them. Looking for the inside on turn 1. A glance across at the competitors as he seals another move.
Big lockup
Different
as
kind
well.
of smoke.
Yeah, that's rubber smoke, and that's one that you definitely don't want. So obviously these cars don't have anti-lock brakes, a lot of management required. But again, a little display of what Super Mongol could do through the corners, as there was that spin for the number 12, losing the rear on the way into the final corner. I think that just really sums up this event. Almost every time we focused on another truck, they've been having a problem of some kind or been involved in a very tight battle. Super Mongol, on the other hand, just cruising out there by himself. I'm sure he's going to try and repeat that dub tomorrow.
Must be a simply superb way to start your weekend, with a win on the Friday.
And with that, well, that's a little bit of a preview for what is potentially to come from Thailand Super Eco. That's the next category coming up here in about 15 minutes' time. For now, we here on the Speed Cafe side of things will sign off for a few minutes, and we'll return when it's time to go racing in the front-wheel drive hatchbacks.
เอาละครับคุณผู้ชมครับกลับเข้ามาที่สนามช้าง International Circuit จังหวัดบุรีรัมย์กันต่อนะครับกับรายการ B-Quik Thailand Super Series 2025 นะครับรุ่นที่อยู่หลังวงนี้นะครับกับรุ่นที่มีชื่อว่า Thailand Super Eco นะครับรุ่นนี้จะแข่งอยู่ในสนามใช้เวลา 12 รอบสนามด้วยกันผู้ที่ทำเวลาในการควอลิฟายนะครับกับสนามนี้ได้ดีที่สุดนะครับแน่นอนเป็นของนฤทธิ์นนท์พัฒน์นะครับรัชเรศสินทรหรือน้องอาร์ตี้นะครับ2 นาที 11.407 นะครับแต่อย่าลืมนะครับว่าจ่าฝูงที่มีคะแนนดีที่สุดณขณะนี้เนี่ยนะครับเป็นของชินวิทย์กรมยานนท์สรวิทย์สมหมายโบรนี่ริสแมนและน้องเรียววงศพัฒน์เกษรินะครับแต่วันนี้เรามาดูกันก่อนนะครับว่ากับการเก็บคะแนนสะสมในสนามจะสุดท้ายและเป็นอย่างไรบ้างตามผมมาเลยครับมาเลยครับวันนี้อาร์ตี้รออยู่แล้วนะครับกับกริดสตาร์ทที่ทำเวลาได้ดีที่สุดในวันนี้นะครับสวัสดีครับอาร์ตี้ครับ
สวัสดีครับ
เป็นยังไงบ้างครับสำหรับการควอลิฟายในวันนี้
ก็ค่อนข้างดีครับก็ manage เรื่อง traffic ได้ค่อนข้างดีเลยทำให้ผล qualify จบเป็นที่1ครับ
ครับชอบมากเลยนะไปดูในคลิปที่อาร์ตี้ตัดแล้วก็เหมือนแนะนำในเรื่องของการแข่งขันในเรื่องของการแนะนำนะให้คนที่เข้ามาเป็นนักแข่งเนี่ยมันได้ความรู้นะครับก็ถือว่าโอเคเลยนะ
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ครับอาร์ตี้ครับสำหรับสนามนี้มีความคาดหวังยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็อยากจบโพเหมือนเดิมครับ
ครับโอเคฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับ
ครับก็ฝากเชียร์อีโคเบอร์90ด้วยนะครับแล้วก็ฝากติดตามTikTok IG แล้วก็ Facebook อาร์ตี้รัชเลสินทรด้วยครับขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับเป็นกำลังใจให้นะครับอาร์ตี้นะครับนฤทธิ์นนท์พัฒน์รัชเรสินทรนะครับแน่นอนนะฮะส่วนต่อไปนะครับนี่กับน้องโมนายนะครับรันชิตวัฒนาธนกุลนะครับเป็นอันดับที่2เขียวๆนี่ไวส์เลยนะครับเนี่ยมาสวัสดีครับโมนายครับ
สวัสดีครับ
เป็นอย่างไรบ้างครับกับการแข่งขันในวันนี้
ก็โอเคครับแบบว่าต้องคอลิฟายฝนตกพอถึงเลสแท็กแห้งก็น่าตื่นเต้นน่าดูครับ
นะมันมีการเปลี่ยนแปลงอยู่ตลอดเวลากับสนามซึ่งเราไม่สามารถคาดการได้ในเรื่องของปัจจัยภายนอกเนาะแต่วันนี้สำหรับตัวเราและการเตรียมความพร้อมก็ต้องให้เต็มที่และสมบูรณ์ด้วยเราอยู่ในกลุ่มสตาร์ที่2ด้วยถูกไหมฮะครับฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับโมนายครับ
ก็ฝากเชียร์ด้วยครับรถเขียวโตโยต้ายาริสครับเบอร์89ครับผมฝากเชียร์ด้วยครับ
ครับขอบคุณครับเป็นกำลังใจให้โมนายนะครับรันชิตวัฒนาธนกุลนะครับตามกันมาครับท่านผู้ชมฮะอันดับที่3นะครับก็สำหรับการทำผลงานของน้องเรียวนะครับวงศพัฒน์เกษริในที่ผ่านมาก็มีพลาดบ้างมีประสบความสำเร็จบ้างแต่วันนี้จากการควอลิฟายของน้องเรียวนะครับมาอยู่เป็นอันดับที่3นะครับก็มาคุยกันหน่อยครับเรียวครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ครับมาเรามีใบเดียวแต่เราคุยกันสองคนเนาะ
ได้ครับ
โอเคได้ข่าวว่าเพิ่งลงเครื่องมาเลยนี่หายเจ็ตแลกป่ะหรือว่ามีอาการอะไรผิดปกติไหม
ยังง่วงนอนอยู่เลยครับ
โอเคไม่ได้โกรธใครมานะควอลิฟายมาถึงอันดับที่3
ไม่ได้โกรธใครมาครับตอนแรกควอลิฟายอยู่รอบนึงอยู่ที่1แต่ว่าไปดูแท็กลิมิตนิดนึง
ใช่
ลองดูว่าเลนนี้จะทำอะไรได้บ้างครับ
โอเคเรียวครับเพราะฉะนั้นแท็กลิมิตตรงนั้นควอลิฟายมาเป็นที่1เขาก็ต้องตัดออกเป็นเรื่องปกตินะฮะต้องเอาให้มันเที่ยงธรรมที่สุดยุติธรรมที่สุดแต่วันนี้อย่างน้อยในการควอลิฟายมาอันดับ3แล้วก็ต้องมาดูกันว่าเราจะขึ้นอยู่ในโพลและแชมป์ประเทศไทยเนี่ยจะอยู่ในอันดับที่เท่าไหร่มาลุ้นกันถูกไหมฮะฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับเรียว
ครับก็ฝากเชียร์เบอร์33แล้วก็ทีมอิเดมิสึบาย AP ด้วยนะครับขอบคุณครับ
ครับขอบคุณครับเรียวครับวงศพัฒน์เกษสิรินะฮะน้องเรียวและก็อีกหลายท่านนะครับสำหรับนักแข่งในรุ่นนี้แน่นอนนะครับกับทีมคอนเซ็ปต์ของเราเช็คเมทใครจะเป็นม้าใครจะเป็นเรือหรือใครจะรุกคาดกับขุนได้มาติดตามกันให้ดีนะครับสำหรับรุ่นนี้ครับ Thailand Super Eco 2025ครับ
โอ้โหขอบคุณเซียนนะครับเซียนกูดดี้
เซียนหมักลุก
กับกลายเป็นเซียนกูดดี้ไปแล้ว
จะต้องมาเล่นกับเก่าหน่อยนะ
กับนี่ครับนีเน่ครับเมฆรัตน์คีตา
สตาร์ทในอันดับที่4วันนี้ครับเมฆรัตน์คีตากับอันดับที่5ครับหมายเลข61ครับสรวิทย์สมหมาย
อันดับ2บนแชมเปี้ยนชิพนะครับตามอยู่23คะแนนยังมีลุ้นอ่ะ
แล้วก็มาที่
รพัฒน์กรครับนี่อาจารย์ปั๊บครับ
ปั๊บเรามาสนุกสนานกันนะปั๊บ
ครับ อีกคันจากรุกทีมครับอานาคีบินฮาฟีฟีครับนักแข่งชาวมาเลเซีย โอ้โห ขอไปข้างหน้าอย่างเดียวนะ
ถ้าถอยหลังก็ไม่มีแต้มเนี่ย
บุญทวีนายจิตครับหมายเลข56ครับ NJ Racing TST Motorsport ครับและนี่คือมาเลเซียอีกคนหนึ่งครับโรนี่ริสมานอินเซนมอเตอร์สปอร์ตครับยังมีลุ้นแชมป์อยู่นะครับคะแนนสะสมเท่ากันกับวงศพัฒน์เกษรีเลยนัทนันท์ครับเอ็นสปอร์ตสิงห์วัฒนามอเตอร์สปอร์ตนะครับหมายเลข99
หน้าตายังเรียกว่าเอาเรื่องอยู่นะ
กับ
เด็กๆขึ้นมา
คาซูโอะครับนักแข่งชาวญี่ปุ่นครับ
ครับ
MNR บูชิโด
โอ้โหบูชิโดเลยอะ
ครับ ชิริรมยานนท์ครับนี่ครับจ่าฝูงบนคะแนนสะสมแต่กริดอยู่ตรงกลางๆนะครับเดี๋ยวดูจะไล่ขึ้นไปได้แค่ไหนครับชิน
เหนื่อยนะ
แต่ก็นำอยู่ค่อนข้างเยอะ
ครับ
นิกเตียววีฮินมอเตอร์สปอร์ตครับหมายเลข39
นักแข่งชาวมาเลนะครับ
ครับ
มาร่วมสนุกกันแล้วก็อีกหนึ่งท่านนะ
ฟูเทราฮานีครับอินเซนมอเตอร์สปอร์ตหมายเลข17ครับนักแข่งมาเลเซียเยอะนะครับ
โอ้อินเซนก็ลงมาหลายคันกันนะ
ใช่นี่ก็เป็นทางด้านของริดวานครับอินเซนอีกคันหนึ่งหมายเลข14ครับ
อันดับ 13 14 15 นี่นักแข่งชาวมาเลเซีย
กับปัญจาไหวพริบครับนักแข่งไทยครับ B-Quik Racing Team ก็เดี๋ยวต้องมาดูนะครับและนี่ก็อีกคนนึงจาก B-Quik ครับอัธพลแก้วอาสาครับหมายเลข26อาจารย์เต้ยครับ
ก็บีควิกก็ให้การสนับสนุนดีเยี่ยมนะครับ
ยศบุญชูครับเปียกออโต้ฟลิกนี่ครับโอ้คันนี้เพื่อนๆเพียบ พีรนัทนันทมานพครับนันทมานพทีม by VR Pro ครับและนี่เป็นนักแข่งสาวครับศิริภากรแยบยนต์ครับโอ้โหเนี่ยแกมุ่งมั่นมาก ชอบครับ
โบนัส
ครับ
พ่ออยู่ไหนเนี่ย
อเดลหลิวครับนักแข่งสาวจากมาเลเซียครับรุกทีมนุทยานันทมานพครับนักแข่งสาวอีกคนหนึ่งโอ้เห็นขนตางอนเลยครับ หมายเลข57นะครับ VR โปการาดแล้วก็สีตานามิคุณกระจรครับน้องฟินครับ B Fin Racing Compact Wise
โอ้ในกลุ่มหลังนี่เป็นนักแข่งสาวนั่นเลยนะ
ใช่ครับและนี่ครับนัดอิมจิตปัญญาครับเดอะไดรฟ์บายก๋วยเจ๋งมอเตอร์สปอร์ตครับโอ้สวัสดีพี่นัทครับ แล้วครับเดี๋ยวมาดู24คันแน่นกริด
ดูคันที่24คันที่1มีท้อนะ
ระยะห่างนี่น่าจะสัก200เมตรได้
จะเร็วต้องเผื่อเซฟตี้คาร์อย่างเดียว กำลังเข้าสู่ในช่วงนับเวลาถอยหลังครับ1 นาทีก็เป็นการสตาร์ทเครื่องยนต์แล้วครับ
ติดแล้วก็บัดดี้ก็ต้องออกแล้วถ้าไม่ออกนี่ก็ต้องนั่งรถไปด้วยแล้วแหละ
โอ้น่าจะเหนื่อยละกิ้งมา
All right, we have returned. We do apologize for the Thai commentary being on our feed as well, but we are working on resolving that. If you're just joining us, I'm Reese Gardner, David Haynes alongside me in the comms box here on Speed Cafe, and the Thailand Super Series English language stream. So, getting ready for the start of Thailand Super Eco. This is the third last race of this championship season. And it's going to be a big start to the weekend for these drivers. They want to get the result here and get their weekend, the final weekend of 2025, off to the best start possible. A whole host of front-wheel drive compact cars finding their way around Buriram. This will indeed be a fun time for sure. If you like your touring car racing, you're going to love this. So, Thailand Super Eco, another little review of where we're racing today. The back straight on the way up to turn 3 is certainly going to be a big opportunity for slipstreaming. But these cars are quite nimble, especially in the second and third sectors. So while they don't have much power, not much in the way of straight line speed, they can certainly rag it through the corners, and there's going to be a lot of cutting back and side-by-side battles through those final few turns, I am sure. Brilliant track, and we love coming here every single year to find our way to the championship finale of TSS. Once again, a reminder, these cars use the same tyre as the Thailand Super Pickups, the 15-inch version of the Hankook Ventus RS4. Semi-slick compound. Still quite a bit of tread on the tyres, so mechanical grip is at a premium. So the starting grid for today's race, Narun Path, will start on pole position with Varun Chit alongside Vongsapat and Mekarad Kita on the second row. Great qualifying performance for Mekarad Kita there. Sorowich and Rapatkorn on row number 3 with Anaki Bin and Buntavi on row number 4. Ronnie Risman going to start out of 9th place with Natanan Puratonkam in 10th. Kazuo Tsukamoto and Chinovich Romyanon will start on row number 6. Then we move back to Niktir Hongzhou and Paterahani Imran on row number 7. Ridwan and Pancha on the 15th and 16th grid spots. Atapon, Kerosa and Yotbonshu will start out of row number 9. Firanat and Siripakorn will be on your top 20 rounded out. Adele Liu, ZU will start in 21st place alongside Nutaya Nutamanop, Sitanun, Pikulka John and Nat Imjit Panya will round out our 24 cars to start this one off, David. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, a couple of little subclasses as well with Eco C, Eco C+. I think I saw that our 3 ladies there are all classed together in Eco C. You've got all sorts of 1.2 to 1.5 litre sort of engines going on here. Yaris of the generation that's sold in Thailand. Quite a lot of Honda Brios. I like the large rear window on the Honda Brio hatchbacks, not present on this sedan. When you were talking about those tyres, I think key to them is not just the wheel size, but the width. So while the trucks had sort of 245 width tyres, these are on 195 width.
Yes, so a little bit less rubber hitting the racetrack, but these are front-wheel drive cars. They love getting that rear end sliding around. It's the only way you can drive cars like this. All that power and the steering going through the front wheels will induce quite a bit of understeer. So if you're nimble and you're able to trail brake effectively, you will be successful. Green flag flying. We're getting ready for the standing start here. 12 laps on the clock for Thailand Super Eco. Race number 6. And we are away. Good start from those up the front of the field, but it looks like the 98 of Chinovich Romyanon a little bit slow off the starting grid. The 90 and the 89 side by side on the way into turn 1, but Narunpath will take the lead. And already getting some word from the stewards that the race start is under investigation. There were some drivers that I think were a bit slow getting to the back of the grid. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but we'll find out in short order as they are all on their way down to turn 3. Some going 2, 3 wide on their way into this hairpin.
You can see all them Honda Brios looking like little mini CRZs. 3 wide coming out of turn 3 though. Track limit's getting a fair bit of attention on this opening lap. Turn 1, lap 1, hardly anyone was in them. Turn 3, they've used it up a fair bit, and we have a change for the race lead here.
Vongsapat Katsiri gets into the lead in car number 33. And so now it looks like there's another challenge for 3rd place as well. Oh man, they are running so far close to the ragged edge here in this sector of the circuit. And they'll be thanking their lucky stars for all of that tarmac runoff off to the right-hand side. But an excellent start from Vongsapat Katsiri. See if they can hold on to that one, because here come the bright green machines, and a challenge for 4th ever so briefly as well. Takes them a while to sort themselves out through the twisties, but I'm sure we'll be seeing quite a bit more of this kind of action over the course of the next 11 laps of this race. Bit of a dive there, and we won't get the chance to find out how that turned out for the moment, but some great fighting going on here towards the end of the first lap. So the number 90 of Narunpath, the pole sitter, starting to drop off the back of the top 2 as they come around the final corner. The 61 versus the 9, Sorowich Samai and Mekarad Kita, the highest qualifying woman in the field. See what she can do to find her way through to a potential podium position. As we check out again that late dive there. And that was the number 98. That was Chinovich making his way past the 6, I believe, was Adel Lugiu. So that might be something for race control to look at.
When you're racing 3 wide, that sort of thing always happens. So you think, I've got space to get down the inside of this driver, but then they're a little bit wider, so then they're into the door of the driver 3 wide. And how about for this race lead? It's not going to stand forever.
Good move up the inside from Varanchit Watanathanakun. So now the slipstream kicks in again, and Vongsapat Katsiri is pushing Varanchit along here on the way into turn 4. I think it's a matter of who blinks first in that circumstance. Vongsapat was probably thinking, oh my goodness, away we go, off the circuit briefly for Varanchit, and there we go. Straight through on the inside, Vongsapat Katsiri back to the lead of the race, but for how long? It looks like big commitment on the power there for Varanchit, and joining the party is Narunpath. It is now a proper 3-way fight for the lead as the top 2 go off the circuit.
Well, through turns 4, 5, 6, Vongsapat was far more respectful of those track limits than some of the drivers he was racing against, but less so through turn 8 by the looks of things, into 9, 10, and 11, where the circuit snakes back on itself. The big braking zone down here at turn 12. Oh, gee, you don't like being the meat in the sandwich, do you? You're thinking, am I going to be able to make a move on this race leader? But then I look in my mirrors and there's a bit of movement happening back there as well.
Yeah, it looks like a proper train of cars here at the front of this field, and it's completely up in the air as to what the finishing order is actually going to be. This is some of the closest racing I've seen yet. That's a lot of track limits usage there by Vongsapat Katsiri all the way off at turn 1. And it looks like that might affect his momentum down the straight here. Is there any move from behind? The number 9 of Mekarad Kita. She's looking up the inside here and is going to try and make it 3 wide with the last 2 cars in the podium places. She's going to make up 1 position there. And move done on the exit as well. Very nice move indeed. But goodness me, just look at this defensive line that's being driven here from Vongsapat Katsiri. That camera is a mirror image, so you know obviously the circuit doesn't go to driver's right at that section. It is indeed a left-hander. Oh, look at that, up into second now for Mekared Kita. She's on an absolute charge.
Yeah, so very, very committed through the straight. And then that kink at turn 4 that looks sort of near flat out in these cars, but sets you up for the braking zone, which would be a big stop at turn 5. Top sort of 6 looking like it's forming pack racing in these cars on the long straights of Chang International Circuit. When they're battling in the top 3, other drivers just begin to close in. You've seen it benefit to Mekared Kita, but Sorowich and Anaki also back there. You can see green on the timing column denoting outright cars and orange denoting Eco C+. Yeah, race lead looking like it's under some pressure here now.
Well, certainly is. Mekared Kita has been on an absolute charge these last couple of laps, and all it takes is one more mistake here for Vongsapat coming out of turn 1, and that's going to be moved on again. Let's see if whoa, that's very far off there for the 90 of Narunpath. Don't forget, Narunpath was quite high up in the field starting on the front row, and now those cars that started on the front row can only watch on as this battle for the lead intensifies into turn 3. Not quite room around the outside for Mekared Kita to get it done on Vongsapat Katsiri, but is the exit of the corner enough here? Vongsapat, following his trend here, is sticking as far to the left as he can, as we get news for the number 89, a black and white flag there for Varanchit for exceeding track limits. Drivers will need to be careful not to violate them too much more over the course of this race, but now it looks like we have a bit of a top 2 breakaway forming. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th all fighting, and I saw some moves to the inside there, just out of frame, but looks like they're all staying in order for the moment. Anaki bin Hafifi and Sorowich Samai bringing up the back of this train and looking to make moves forward.
Also saw 7th, 8th, 9th battling each other in towards turn 1, so despite how this begins to affray a little bit in this short 12-lap race, the battling for the next group is perhaps just going to preserve the gap that this top 6 have got at the moment.
Yeah, we often talk about it in the sim world. Running side by side costs you time to those you're either trying to chase or are being chased by. But these 6 seem to be making good use of the slipstreamers. There's the move from Mekared Kita. Oh, a big look up the inside of the final corner, but not quite close enough to complete the move there. Very wisely pulling out of that one. But now that has forced Vongsapat Katsiri defensive into turn 1, which is one of the worst places you want to see a car right on your tail. It's going to happen down here at turn 3 this time. I would expect Vongsapat to defend this like an absolute animal. Is there going to be a dive to the inside here from Mekared Kita? There certainly is. Picks up a bit of slipstream, hard on the brakes. Vongsapat Katsiri has to give room to the inside, and the number 9 is through to the lead of the race, but can she hold on to it? On the exit of the corner, not quite. Beautiful cutback there from Vongsapat, but now Mekared Kita has the inside for the next corner.
That must make Vongsapat feel very unsettled. That had been his line for most of this race, and it's just going to be a car width and a small car's width as they nearly exchange mirrors.
Oh, goodness me. Just getting back onto the track there is Vongsapat, and now the door is open to the inside for Varanchit. Will he be able to get back onto second place here? Can Narunpath get back onto the podium as well? This has really thrown things up in the air.
Well, it's a good move to get into the lead, and the fact that it is such a large pack that then gives you this opportunity, and that's looking very mechanical for one of my beloved Honda Brios. Spinning out there, that feels like a lot of oil coming out and perhaps dropping onto the rear wheels as well, the source of the smoke and also the spin.
Yeah, it looks like oil smoke there. That was the number 26 of Atapon, who I believe is now out of the race as a result. And the safety car has been called for that. Stopped on the inside of turn 3. Atapon is safe and out of the car. Thank goodness for that. But far from ideal result here. It also brings the entire race to a pause here. Safety car is waiting for the field to come to it, but I guess that gives us the chance to review what's happened so far, David. Heck of a run from Mika Edkita. That Toyota is looking mighty quick here, and now that she's in the lead, question is, can she maintain it? How much aggression will we see from Vongsapat Katsiri and Varanchit and Narunpath behind him?
We'd also seen some other drivers come through the field in that next pack. So Ronnie Risman has gone up to 7th, and Nick Teo Hong Jo has gone up into 9th. And we thought the top 6 were sort of safe and insulated from some of the quick drivers in that next pack, but this compresses it all back together. So if you were any of those drivers battling for 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, and you thought, I've got more speed, I'm just trapped in this pack that's never going to catch the leaders, well, you are licking your lips ready for this to go racing again. Yeah, recovery vehicles out here at turn 3. In what I am going to call Super Pickup Division 3.
Yes, and they do a very good job in Division 3, racing their way around the circuit to pick up stricken cars. Number 68 in the pits, that's Sirpakorn Yebion, who has brought the Toyota in. And it looks like some pretty hefty mechanical issues with that car, as the safety crew is already towing the number 26 away. So hopefully we should be able to get this race going again very soon.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at how much oil there could be. We've got all the brooms out, we've got paper towel, we've got bags, and obviously it looked like just all of the oil coming out of that thing onto the hot exhaust will create the white smoke, but then it's presumably very slippery down there at turn 3 as well. All of our lovely marshals have kept their head above their tail though, so it's not quite an ice skating rink in human terms, but when you come in there fully loaded in a race car, any change of grip can feel very drastic. Yeah, oil dry and on the racing line.
Yeah, that's going to throw up quite a bit of dust when the race goes green again. But the marshals here doing a very quick and proper job of getting that oil soaked up. Now we'll see how the field negotiates that incident area. I presume they'd be instructed to go incredibly wide if the marshals are still there by that point. They've done a very efficient job of not only getting the stricken car off the circuit and behind the barriers, but also getting everything to clean the oil up out there very quickly too.
Got manpower, they got every good piece of technology needed other than a FOD boss, but it seems like it's mainly just oil and fluid down in that area. Quite a number of Malaysian flag drivers in this category. It's interesting to note, of course, last round at Sepang, we had a couple of the Malaysian categories full of Malaysian drivers, like GR86 Malaysia Series.
Yes, a grand total of 5 drivers in this field racing under the Malaysian flag. Ronnie Risman, Nick Teo Hong Jo, Patera Hani Imran, Ridwan Kif, and Adel Lujiyu. So
Patera Hani Imran was in Formula 4 Southeast Asia. That championship is concluded for the year. Perhaps similar horsepower, but certainly less grip out of Super Eco.
Yeah, heck of a lot more bodywork as well, not to mention the engine and the driven wheels are the complete opposite to an F4. But a race car is a race car, and drivers are as adaptable as ever. So they're coming up to the scene of the incident here. Are the marshals still out on track at this point? It looks like they are. They're just instructing everybody to go around. Don't forget the laps will be ticking away while all of this is going on. They've got a huge crew out there at the moment.
Yeah, look out, Liam Lawson. And they've got good procedure there with the vehicle parked and then the marshal with the sign and then all of the other marshals just waiting for the pack to go past before they step back onto the racing line. A couple more bags of oil dry. They might be heading back towards their posts here.
Yeah, they are. Because the safety car's coming in this lap. So we're going to be getting this race started again. The oil should be reasonably soaked up at this point. But of course, it'd probably be best practice for the drivers to maybe run wide in the middle of turn 3, at least for the first couple of laps before they start feeling out the grip through that corner again. It's going to completely change the way that you attack this circuit and you attack your opponents in front of you. And Mekarad Kita, despite her incredible pace, has the dubious honor of being the first person in this field to find out what the conditions will really be like.
What we did see in racing conditions, though, was quite a few drivers taking different lines through there. So one of the things that Mekarad Kita tried was making their rival defend and then going around the outside or trying to tuck back to a late apex. I feel like that could be a line that's very profitable when we go racing, is just treat that corner as if it's wet and the rest of the racetrack as if it's normal. And if your rival on the inside finds very little grip, you can try to maybe over-under. Or if you're far enough alongside, try to sweep all the way around the outside. A couple of Suzuki Swifts here as well, new generation ones.
Very nice to see them out here. Great variety of zippy little machinery in Thailand at Super Eco. Safety car ending. And it's already pulled into the pits. So now Mekarad Kita will control the restart from here. Flat out of the final corner. But it looks like Vongsapat was on it as well. The top two breaking away as the green flag flies. And we are back to racing with 5 laps to go in race 6 of Thailand Super Eco. Now, turn 1 is going to be the same amount of grip you expect there. Great exit from turn 1 for Varanchit there. May be able to mount some kind of attack at the end of the straight, but now they're going to come up on where all of that oil was spilled. How much dust are we going to see kicked up? What lines are these drivers going to take? Mekarad Kita going to set the standard here. Hard on the brakes, turning in and going to be staying reasonably wide of where that oil was dropped, but it seems that Vongsapat Kasiri is not afraid to go into that area, and he ended up gaining a tiny bit of time from that too.
Yeah, Ronnie Reisman restarted in 7th position, and that was actually one of the highest running of the Honda Brio hatchbacks. So he stands a chance, and many of these drivers were already on some little track limits warning, so they need to be careful now that they're in close combat again on the restart, and close combat indeed we have.
Yeah, the 98, the 17, and the 32. That's Chinovich, Putera, and Kazuo, respectively, having a little adventure down there at the hairpin. So obviously, there is still grip on the inside at the turn there. They just need to be careful how they execute it. Mekarad Kita holds on to the lead, and Vongsapat is latched onto the back of that car like a limpet to the hull of a ship right now. Got to wonder when he's going to make his move.
And there we go. They never stop looking at the track limits. The other thing interesting as we go racing again is if you told me that these cars were lapping quicker than the Utes, I'd believe you, but it's not true. They're 7 or 8 seconds slower. It's amazing how the size of the cars affects your perception of their speed, particularly through the middle sectors. These things look really, really nimble and quick. They are significantly smaller cars, and they are, on the order of sort of 8 or 9 seconds per lap slower, but they are racing closer. So smaller cars look faster and race closer. Let's get Formula One on the line with this idea.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see a couple of Honda Brios and Suzuki Swifts racing in F1. That would be fun. Wonder if you'd be able to fit the V6 turbo hybrid in there. Move to the outside for Vongsapat Katsiri. Is he going to try the over-under here? Cuts through the oil. Tiny bit of understeer for both of our top two.
And a lot of understeer for our third place.
Yes, plenty understeer for Varenchit, who is trying his best to keep up with these two, but it doesn't seem like he's been very successful with it in the short term.
Big slipstream on the run down towards turn 4. Fast sweeper, feels flat out. No hint of brake lights, but then it sets them up to immediately need to stop. Into a very tight turn 5. Mekaradkita defending just a little bit.
Almost tapping Morse code on the bumper at the moment is Vongsapat Katsiri, and he's trying to find every opportunity he can to make a move here. That's wide on the exit there, ever so slightly for Mekaradkita, but she'll stay in the lead for the moment. Varenchit and Narunpath are having their own little battle behind these two. I wonder how long it's going to take for them to start working together. Need to keep in mind, Anaki bin Hafifi and Sorowich Somai, they're still trailing on the back of this one, and they were much closer to this group before the safety car came out. Gonna wonder how long it's going to take for them to make themselves known in this battle again. For the moment, it's looking like this 2-horse race up the front.
Yeah, it is. Final corner's very tight. Mind your understeer and your track limits. Oh, as we go to a replay deeper in the fields.
Yeah, that's the 20. That's the 26 again. I wonder why. I wonder if that is the reason we saw that car with its oil problems on the inside of turn 3. That might have been what ultimately caused the safety car. We'll think about that later though, because the lead is on, and oh no, trouble for the number 7. That's Sitinun Pekulkajon, who has the front right wheel rubbing against the guard. There's been contact back there. As Mekaradkita defends the lead once again from Vongsapat Katsiri. This has been an incredibly exciting race so far, and the excitement is only going to compound here as the left wing mirror has been taken out for Vongsapat Katsiri. They're side by side on the way down to turn 4. Who is going to blink first? See Vongsapat just looking to his left there, just to see where the Toyota is. Barely enough room being given on the outside there on the way into the corner. He'll use the curb to try and widen the entry. The move unsuccessful on the way into turn 4. What about turn 5? Not quite. Mekaradkita holds on. But you got the feeling from this that it's only a matter of time before the fireworks start.
Yeah, and with all that oil and oil dry down at turn 3, you saw how powerful the over-under was, but then Vongsapat just didn't find himself with the inside for turn 4. Mekaradkita held with very, very fierce elbows. Here's Marshall pushing that. So that's the pit exit lane where that car has come to a halt. Maybe there's more than just the tyre pushing against the guard.
Yeah, looks like a bit of a deeper technical issue there for the number 6, for the number 7, sorry. Coming up on 2 laps to go then for these drivers up the front. Vongsapat Katsiri now has that left wing mirror loose there. Is almost a move behind there from, I think that was Anaki bin Hafifi trying to go for the move there into the final corner, but nothing to be said about it for the moment. Our top 6 continuing to keep each other very close company here as the penultimate lap begins, and indeed Narunpath is under a bit of pressure there, and it looks like it was actually Sorowich Samai that is the one trying to make the moves there. A little bit further back, Ronnie Risman is right at the back of this one.
Yeah, he's gone up into 6th. Aniki bin Hafifi has dropped back to 7th place in a move that I'm not sure we saw. And You know, with this kind of robust defense, I think the only problem for Mekarat Keita is that you've reduced the drag on Vongsapat by knocking out one of those mirrors.
I was about to say, a little bit less frontal area for that Honda Brio now. Look at the exit that he's gotten out of turn 3. He's rounding up on the back of the Toyota, but not close enough for a move into turn 4. Incredibly difficult to outbrake someone into turn 5 because you're just coming off this corner and you're at such high load as I think that was the wing mirror that just fell off there. Yeah, the wing mirror is gone now for Vongsapat Katsiri. It's in the middle of the racetrack and he's getting up the inside of Mekarat Keita now. They'll be side by side through the final sector of this racetrack. How hard is Mekarat Keita going to defend this one? Good job there. Gets out of the corner first, but Vongsapat could be lining up a move at the next turn. Is he close enough to do it? Not quite. Meanwhile, Varanchit and Narunpath having their own adventures further back there. Sorowich Samai right in the midst of it. The cameras don't know who to focus on. There's close racing going on wherever you like. It looks like we've had 7 cars just have been given a black and white flag for track limits by race control. Oh man, this is turning into quite the chaotic event here, but the final lap is about to begin, David. I honestly don't know who to pick for the winner here.
I feel like both of them want it, and this is those track limits again, out of the final corner, through turn 1, through turn 5, exit of turn 9, I saw some drivers getting into trouble. So this looks like it will be a one-on-one duel. 3rd and 4th, you see, side by side, rolling roadblock. Ronnie Grisman gets closer, but you can never take your eyes away from a last lap battle for the win.
That looked like a good exit from turn 1 for Vongsapat Katsiri. What can he do? Middle of the road for Mekarat Keita. It looks like she might be moving towards the inside to defend this move, but we've seen Vongsapat pull off an over-under in style many times before. Can he do it again? How late on the brakes do you want to be? Mekarat Keita, as late as you dare, parks it on the apex and stops the Honda Brio from getting the run into the corner. What about out of it? The Toyota Gazoo Racing crew watching on in the pits here to see if their brand's car will find its way onto the top step. Incident at turn 3 under investigation for the 98 and the 25. That's Chinovich and the number 25 of Pancha Wayaprip. So worth keeping an eye out on that. But the battle for the lead is still on. You still see Vongsapat's wing mirror there in the middle of the racetrack. And once again, he is first to the apex of turn 5, but through turn 6, Mekarat Keita will hold strong. Does Vongsapat have the momentum he needs to make the move this time? I'm not sure. That Toyota is looking like it's got great drive off these corners, off of these slower corners around this circuit. And for the moment, looks like that might have just about sealed it. It's still on for 4th, 5th, and 6th. It looks like Sorowich and Ronnie are really making their presence known versus Varanchit and Narunpath. But these two are far away from that fight. And, well, barring a super late dive from Vongsapat, I think this might have just sealed it for Mekarat Keita, who is going to come through the final corner. Bit of time made up for the Honda behind. But that's it. The line beckons. And Mekarat Keita comes away with the win. An incredible defense as there's contact in the final corner there for, I believe, Ronnie Risman there losing his a bit of his body work, unless it came off the car of Varanchit up ahead. Sorowich Samai getting into 4th place there on the final lap. An excellent run indeed. What a finish, what a race. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, so Varanchit and Risman, I think, at the final corner, perhaps coming together. Now this is, another issue at turn 12.
Yeah, okay, so that's the 25 there of Pancha Wayaprip and contact from the 98 of Chinovich, Romyanon. That's what the stewards were investigating there. But what a great feeling it must be for Mekarat Keita. Excellent start to a weekend here. In the final round of Thailand Super Series for 2025, she's come away with the win in race 1. And that's momentum she can surely carry through to tomorrow's races as well.
keep an eye on this one because I think Ronnie Risman will get 5th place with 5 seconds going to Varun Chit. Time penalty for continued abuse off track limits. If there's one car getting that, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another car or two getting that as well. Someone was egregiously through the runoff turn 1 on the restart lap as well, and then obviously we pointed out 4 or 5 places where you can just run a little bit wide if you get in too hot and do too much.
Indeed. Well, this is the in lap. The race is over, but it still looks like these cars are going at race pace. Just an insane category, this. Love watching them every single time, but into the pits for the number 9. This is going to be an especially sweet victory for Meka Adkita, who I believe started this one in 4th and was able to fight her way through to the front and defend an absolutely manic Vongsapat Katsiri, who was trying everything he could. He was throwing everything at her in that race, but holding strong was Meka Adkita, and she is rewarded with a great fight for the win. I'm sure there's going to be a few words of congratulation exchanged here.
And I'm sure no troubles finding a spare mirror for these time market cars. But yeah, what a great race. Really well done. Decent racecraft as well, because it was the defensive positioning in turn 3. It was holding your nerve absolutely wheel to wheel through turn 4.
I think Nino will be very grateful for that leaf blower there. It's hot work driving a race car.
I don't think the safety car actually helps you that much. You just realize how hard you've been working, how much adrenaline you've got, and you're still sat there in the heat.
Yeah, of course it is. It's not the hottest temperature you can get in Thailand, but as we saw at the top of the broadcast, the humidity is quite high. So you'll be feeling quite sticky on your way out of one of these race cars, and that looked like a nice cold bottle of water she'll enjoy for sure. Goody in the pits. Going to have a chat to our podium now. Let's hear what they have to say.
สำหรับรุ่นนี้ดูเดือดกันจริงๆเลยนะครับผู้ที่มาเป็นที่3ในวันนี้คือนฤนนท์พัฒน์รัชเรสินทรต้องเต้ๆครับแสดงความดีด้วยครับ
ก็สวัสดีครับผมอาร์ตี้นะครับนฤนนท์พัฒน์รัชเรสินทรแข่งขันในรุ่นซูเปอร์อีโคเบอร์90ครับ
อาร์ตี้ต้องบอกว่าวันนี้การแข่งขันเป็นอย่างไรบ้างเล่าให้ฟังหน่อยความมันในสนามนี้
ก็อันดับเปลี่ยนแทบจะตลอดเลยครับแล้วก็ค่อนข้างแบบทุกคนมีสปอร์ตแมนชิพค่อนข้างสูงครับก็เวลาแซมมันก็จะเหลือสเปซให้กันซึ่งค่อนข้างเป็นเรื่องที่มันมากครับแล้วก็สนุกมาก
โอ้โหแต่สิ่งอันนี้พูดถึงนอกเกมการแข่งขันนะในเรื่องของการแข่งขันที่เป็นเทคนิคอลในเรื่องของกฎกติกามารยาทอาร์ตี้ก็จะคอยสอนน้องๆหรือคนที่มาดูเนี่ยอยู่เสมอไปแล้วแต่พอเราอยู่ในสนามการแข่งขันจริงๆเนี่ยมันก็อาจจะมีเรื่องของปัจจัยอย่างอื่นอาทิเช่น track limit ในเรื่องของracing line หรือ racing room ต่างๆเนี่ยอาร์ตี้มีความรู้สึกว่ามันเป็นยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็ทุกอย่างมันเป็นเกมการแข่งขันนะครับก็อย่างน้อยทุกคนก็แบบ respect ซึ่งกันและกันแล้วก็ลงมาก็ไม่ได้มีอะไรกันแล้วก็ทุกคนมีสปอร์ตแมนชิพค่อนข้างสูงอยู่แล้วอ่ะใช่
นี่ครับฝากกันมาหน่อยครับ
ครับก็ฝากติดตาม TikTok IG Facebook อาร์ตี้รัชเรสินทรด้วยนะครับแล้วก็ขอบคุณ PT Management Wise BRD Nexter Venom Secret กอกูด by ลงโป Power Unit ด้วยครับ
อาร์ตี้นะครับนฤนท์พัฒน์รัชเรสินทรนั่นเองนะครับแสดงความดีอีกครั้งครับไปต่อกันที่อันดับที่2นะครับของวงสพัฒน์เกตศิริครับน้องเรียวครับแสดงความดีอีกครั้งครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
ครับก็เห็นมานะครับในช่วงท้ายๆสนามหลังจากที่มีรถนะครับของทาง B-Quik เนี่ยมีน้ำมันเนาะมันเลยทำให้เซฟตี้คาร์ออกมาแล้วก็เลยทำให้เกิดเหตุการณ์เนี่ยต่อท้ายกันเข้ามามากขึ้นแต่ช่วงระหว่างนั้นก็มีการแบทเทิลกันต้องเรียกว่ามีการ แบทเทิลกันแล้วกันมาจนถึงวันนี้เป็นยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็พอใจกับผลงานโซฟานะครับแต่ว่าเราเอมที่จะเป็นแชมป์ประจำปี
ครับ
ก็ต้องคอนติเนียไปเรื่อยๆครับ
ครับโอเคครับก็วันนี้ก็ถือว่าเต็มที่แล้ว
ใช่ครับเต็มที่แล้วครับก็ฝากเชียร์รถเบอร์33ด้วยนะครับแล้วก็ขอบคุณสปอนเซอร์คุณพ่อคุณแม่แล้วก็อิริมิสึบายเอพีด้วยนะครับขอบคุณมากครับ
น้องเรียวนะครับวงสภัทรเกตสิรินั่นเองนะครับและแชมป์ประจำสนามนี้นะครับเป็นของเมคาราคิตากรันตานนท์นี่เน่แสดงความยินดีด้วยครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
โอ้โหรู้สึกว่าเพอร์ฟอร์แมนซ์ของลีเน่ที่เห็นมาเนี่ยไม่ว่าจะเป็นการปิดในเรื่องของลายต่างๆหรือการดีเฟนต์ต่างๆเนี่ยคือมีความละเอียดมากๆแล้วก็นิ่งมากๆครับนีเน่วันนี้เหมือนเป็นการพิสูจน์ในอีกของนีเน่อีกระดับหนึ่งเป็นการยกระดับมาเนี่ยรู้สึกยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็รู้สึกดีใจค่ะเพราะว่าเราก็เหมือนพยายามพัฒนาตัวเองทุกๆสนามอะค่ะอะไรที่เราผิดพลาดไปแล้วก็มาเป็นบทเรียนแล้วก็พัฒนาในสนามต่อๆไปรวมถึงตัวรถด้วยเพราะว่าเราเป็นทีมโตโยต้าค่ะคือเราใช้รถโตโยต้ามาแข่งในรุ่นซูเปอร์อีโคซึ่งในหลายๆปีที่ผ่านมาเนี่ยหลายๆคนพูดว่าโตโยต้าสู้ไม่ได้วันนี้ก็พิสูจน์ให้เห็นค่ะว่าไม่ไปสองรองใคร
แรงทั้งรถแล้วก็แรงในตัวของบุคคลในเรื่องของนีเน่ด้วยนะครับต้องชื่นชมในเรื่องของเทคนิคในเรื่องของการแข่งขันแล้วก็เรื่องของการ respect ในเรื่องของการใช้สนามเนี่ยอย่างคุ้มค่าจริงวันนี้อยากให้นีเน่ฝากถึงแฟนๆด้วยครับ
ค่ะก็ฝากเชียร์นะคะนีเน่98แล้วก็ทีมรุกเซอร์วิสวิงฮินมอเตอร์สปอร์ตด้วยนะคะมีโตโยต้า5คันมีรุ่นเลดี้ค่ะวันนี้เลดี้ก็ที่1นะคะ
ครับแต่วันนี้ครับขอบคุณครับแน่นอนนะครับกับแชมป์สนามนี้เป็นของลีเน่เมคาราคิตากาลันตานนท์นะครับแต่ยังมีสิ่งที่น่าสนใจนะครับที่เราจะต้องติดตามกันต่อนั่นคือไฮไลท์ครับ
Well then, a fantastic first race of the weekend for Thailand Super Eco. I mean, David, this just shows what this kind of category can do, right? Like, just some incredible drives through the field, close racing all the way through, fair amount of drama, especially in the midfield, but all up, the racing at the front was spectacular.
Yeah, and we're going to see some of that really solid defensive work at times from 33 minutes. Keep trying to work through the field here from fourth, looking at the teammates, just trying to think 12 laps around this track in these cars is a long enough time to work your way up towards the front. Indeed she did.
Yeah, Nine making some fantastic moves up the front. We had plenty of racing going on further back. All the way through this field, there was someone to race with. That's the moment where Nikarad Kita took the lead and almost lost it again there with Bongsapat Ketsiri trying his best to pull an over-under on her in the Honda Amaze, I am told. But I mean, just seeing... Okay, all right, here we go. This is where the big drama happened in the race. The number 26 with, we believe, a mechanical problem, dropping oil and fluid onto the racetrack. That brought out the safety car. And there was a little break in the action, but after that, the battle continued up the front. More drama up the back, and at that point, I mean, just seeing how much they were able to get away with in this fight. That's why we love touring car racing. Just spectacular.
A couple of Brios going around here. Track limits key on the exit there. Look at Akita though, eventually holding on, post that safety car to take a win. We've got one more race coming up tonight.
We certainly do. Thailand Super Pickup Division 1. Always drama-filled here. The D-Maxes will be joined by a variety of different machinery. That race is going to get going in about 12 minutes time. So we're going to step away for a moment, let you enjoy the sights and sounds and analysis from our regular broadcast crew. We'll be back very shortly.
เก็บมาได้แค่6คะแนนคุณผู้ชมสถานการณ์ต่างๆไม่เข้าทางเขาเลยครับแล้วมาดูครับจากคนที่ดูเหมือนว่าเริ่มต้นฤดูกาลอาจจะไม่ได้ดีเท่าไหร่นะครับแต่ว่าพอผ่านการแข่งขันมาทั้งหมด5สนามด้วยผลงานที่คงเส้นคงวา พี่โต้งสตันครับธนวัฒน์สุวรรณรัตน์ปีนี้เริ่มต้นด้วยการจบเรสแรกในอันดับ 2 อันดับที่ 4 ในเรสที่ 2 แล้วก็เก็บมาได้อีก 8 แต้มจากเรส 3 พอเดินทางไปที่บางแสนครับเขาคว้าโพเดียมมาได้อีกครั้งหนึ่งผ่านมา5เรสแรกนะครับตัวเขามีทั้งหมด58 แต้มธนพลชูเจริญผลอยู่อันดับ 2 ครับไปตีตื้นแล้วก็เอาคืนได้ที่บางแสนเบสชนะการแข่งขันที่บางแสนทั้ง2ครั้งเลยตอนนี้เนี่ยตัวเขามีทั้งหมด46คะแนนตามผู้นำอยู่12 แต้มครับอันดับที่ 3 บนตารางแชมเปี้ยนชิพซึ่งเอาจริงๆแล้วคะแนนสะสมเขาเท่ากันกับเบสเทอร์โบยัมเลยจ๊อบมนตรีดีเซลหรือว่านัทนุชวงสมบูรณ์เรสแรกเก็บมาได้4 แต้มแต่ว่า2เรสต่อมานะครับในเรสที่2และเรสที่3เขาชนะมาได้หลายคนมองว่าเขากลายมาเป็นเต็งหนึ่งในการลุ้นแชมป์ประเทศไทยของ Thailand Super Pick Up เลยแต่พอไปแข่งขันที่บางแสนครับ disqualify ครับไม่มีแต้มพอเข้าสู่เรส2เก็บมาได้2แต้มเองเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยพอผ่านการแข่งขันมาทั้งหมด5เรสณัฐนุวงศ์สมบูรณ์มีทั้งหมด46คะแนนเท่ากันกับธนพลชูเจริญผลโอกาสที่มันจะพลิกหรือว่าเปลี่ยนจ่าฝูงตั้งแต่เรสแรกหรือว่าเรสที่6ในสุดสัปดาห์นี้เลยเนี่ยมีสูงมากส่วนในคลาส B ครับก็ยังคงต้องมาตัดสินแชมป์กันช่วง3สนามสุดท้ายเช่นเดียวกันตอนนี้สุรชัยเพ็งผ่องนำเป็นจ่าฝูงมี65คะแนนครับสุรชัยเองมีความได้เปรียบเหนืออนุวัฒน์มณีอินหรือว่าหนุ่ยเป๋อสุพรรณอยู่13แต้มนะครับส่วนอันดับที่3เป็นของจตุรนต์เอี่ยมรอดคนนี้เพิ่งขึ้นมานะครับแต่ว่าจตุรนต์เองก็ถือว่าสร้างผลงานได้ดีในคลาส B นะครับอยู่อันดับ3ตามผู้นำอยู่16แต้มฉะนั้นสุดสัปดาห์นี้นะครับยังคงที่จะได้ลุ้นกันอยู่ว่าใครจะเป็นแชมป์ในคลาส B จริงๆแล้วไม่ใช่แค่3คนนี้นะครับยังมีชื่อของณัฐวุฒิพึ่งพรหมนะครับสุวัฒน์ลิมจีราพิญญารวมไปถึงอีกคนหนึ่งนะครับก็คือเสี่ยยูหรือว่าสรัญยูอ่อนใจเอื้อนะครับที่จะสามารถเป็นตัวสอดแทรกขึ้นมาได้ก็ต้องไปติดตามกันดูครับว่าแชมป์ในคลาส B จะเป็นใคร
เอาละครับคุณผู้ชมครับยังอยู่กับการแข่งขัน B-Quik Thailand Super Series 2025 นะครับซึ่งแน่นอนว่ารุ่นที่อยู่ข้างหลังผมนี้คือ Thailand Super Pick Up Division 1 Class A และ Class B นะครับไม่น่าเชื่อนะครับคุณผู้ชมในเรื่องของการ Qualify ในช่วงเช้าเนี่ยนะครับก็มันมีบรรยากาศฝนตกนะฮะเราก็จะเห็นว่าทั้งแจ็คแล้วก็แซนดี้เนี่ยของ Ford เนี่ยนะฮะก็ขับกันมาเรื่อยๆคะแนนดีมากอยู่ๆฮะอันดับ1ในการ Qualifyเข้ามาเฉยเลยครับกับ2 นาที 07.866 เป็นของบัณฑิตรัตดาแย้มวันนี้ต้องไปถามกันแล้วนะว่าเขากินอะไรมาทำไมเขาถึงตั้งใจจะมาควอลิฟายมาเป็นอันดับ1ในสนามนี้ตามผมมาเลยครับมาเลยฮะนี่เลยฮะตุ๋มติ๋มขี้โมนี่ฉายาเขานะครับสวัสดีครับพี่ตุ๋มติ๋มสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ
ผมงงมากเลยครับในตอนควอลิฟายก็เห็นว่าทุกคนตั้งใจเคี่ยนกันมากในรอบฝนตกนะแล้วคะแนนของแจ็คแล้วก็แซนดี้เนี่ยก็คือมาดีอยู่ของพี่มาเป็นระดับ1เฉยเลยฮะคือตอนนั้นคือเกิดอะไรขึ้นฮะ
ครับตอนนี้ก็คือตื่นเต้นมากๆเลยครับแล้ว
ตอนนั้นไม่ตื่นเต้นเหรอครับ
ฟุก
แต่ผมว่าไม่ฟุกนะมันก็ต้องมีหลายปัจจัยเข้ามาและแน่นอนเรามาอยู่ในโพสตาร์ที่1เนี่ยนะฮะเราตั้งใจไว้ว่ายังไงบ้างครับสำหรับวันนี้
คือวันนี้ผมออกที่1อยากจบที่1อะครับก็ตั้งใจเต็มที่ครับฝากเชียร์ด้วยครับวันนี้จะไม่โม้ฮะจะเต็มที่ครับการครับ
โอเคขอบพระคุณครับขอบคุณครับพี่ตุ๋มติ๋มนะครับบัณฑิตรัตดาแย้มนะครับไปดูกันต่อนะครับอันนี้เป็นซิงเกิลแคปนะครับสำหรับอันดับที่2ในควอลิฟายวันนี้ก็คือแซนดี้สตูวิกนะครับเพราะว่าอะไรเราจะเห็นในเรื่องของการพัฒนาการสำหรับควอลิฟายเนี่ยเราเห็นเลยว่าความชัดเจนในเรื่องของการควอลิฟายหรือรอบของการเข้ามาในเรื่องของเวลาเนี่ยที่ดีมากสวัสดีครับแซนดี้ครับโอ้โหต้องบอกเลยว่าวันนี้ที่มา qualify หรือ practice race เนี่ยก็จะเห็นเลยว่าFord มีการพัฒนาในเรื่องของช่วงล่างเรื่องของรถด้วยได้ไหมฮะ
ก็มีครับแต่ว่าแน่นอนฝนก็คือผลหนึ่งด้วยครับแน่นอนรถ Ford ก็จะเหมาะกับการวิ่งในฝนต ตอนถนนมัน
ใช่
ลื่นๆครับ
ครับ
แต่ว่าตอนนี้ก็อาจจะยากนิดหนึ่งครับ
อ๋อใช่เพราะมันเปลี่ยนแล้วเนาะเพราะว่าสนามมันแห้งไปแล้ว แต่ก็ไม่เป็นไรหรอกแต่เราก็จะเห็นมีพัฒนาการแล้วก็มีอะไรที่เห็นได้ชัดเลย
ใช่ครับมีครับผมก็แฮปปี้มากเลยครับกับทีมฟอร์ดเราก็พัฒนามาหลายอย่างมากเลยนะครับทั้งคันนี้แล้วก็เบอร์ 41 ของแจ็คนะครับ
ครับ
ก็ฝากเชียร์ด้วยนะครับเดี๋ยวทั้งแซนดี้กับแจ็คจะเต็มที่ครับวันนี้
ครับขอบคุณครับขอบคุณครับแซนดี้สตูวิกนะครับมาคุณผู้ชมมาเราไปอีกคันหนึ่งดีกว่านะฮะเพราะว่ามีความแตกต่างระหว่างรถของแซนดี้จะเป็นซิงเกิลแคปเนาะแต่ว่าของแจ็คเนี่ยจะมีแคปอยู่ด้วย แต่ระหว่างเนี้ยทั้งแจ็คทั้งแซนดี้เนี่ยนะฮะก็มีการควอลิฟายมาอันดับ2อันดับ3สวัสดีครับแจ็คครับโอ้โหเป็นยังไงบ้างครับคิดถึงแล้วก็ไม่ได้เจอกันนานเลยวันนี้เป็นยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็ไม่ได้เจอกันตั้งแต่บางแสนใช่ไหม ก็แฮปปี้มากครับอยากจะขอบคุณทีมฟอร์ดไทยแลนด์แล้วก็ทุกคนครับเพราะวันนี้ใส่ B6
ครับ
โหแรงขึ้นเยอะเลย แล้วก็
ใช่
แต่ตอนควอลิฟายก็ฝนตกก็เข้าทางเราพอดีเลย แต่ตอนนี้ก็ไม่ได้ตกก็เดี๋ยวก็พยายามเต็มที่ครับเพราะมัน3 เลสอะมันก็ถ้ามาจบ
ใช่
ถ้าทำไม่ดีสนามวันนี้ มันก็จะกระทบเป็นเสาร์อาทิตย์เลยครับ
ครับผมเอาไม่เป็นไรครับแจ็คเดี๋ยวเราฝากถึงแฟนๆแล้วทุกคนกำลังจับตาดูอยู่แน่นอนครับ
ครับก็ฝากเชียร์แซนดี้กับผมแล้วก็ทุกคนในฟอร์ดครับแล้วก็ทุกคนด้วยอยากให้สนุกด้วยกันให้หมดเลยครับ
ครับขอบพระคุณครับแจ็คเลมวาร์ดนะครับและแน่นอนนะคุณผู้ชมกับอีกนักแข่งหลายๆท่านที่อยู่ด้านหลังผมนี้นะครับใครจะเป็นแชมป์ในสนามนี้นะครับเดี๋ยวเรามารุกคาดกันกับเช็คเมดวันนี้แน่นอนครับ
จะจบที่ตี้ยาวจากนั้นเองมาใช้ไปที่อื่นเยี่ยมครับแล้วโอ้ดัก
ขอบคุณกูดดี้ครับก็กลับมาที่ตำแหน่งกริดสตาร์ทกันนะครับสุภชัยคงมั่นครับสตาร์ทในอันดับที่ 4 ครับกับรถหมายเลข 7 นะครับขยับมาที่หมายเลข 15 ครับรถหมายเลข 5 ธนพลครับก็สตาร์ทในอันดับที่ 5 ช่วงการคอลิฟายนั้นก็มีฝนโปรยปลายมานะครับเวลาที่ได้ก็2 นาที 08 ซึ่งจริงๆไม่น่าจะใช่ในรุ่นของปิกอัพคลาส AB ครับมาที่หมายเลข 23 ครับชินบุตครับสตาร์ทในอันดับที่ 6 ครับกับ Alpha Factory Racing Team by Pausa ครับมาที่รถหมายเลข 19 ครับกับตำแหน่งสตาร์ทในอันดับที่ 7 ครับณัฐวัฒน์ชำนาญครับ Nexter แล้วก็มาที่
All right, it is time for the final race of today's action here on the Friday at Chang International Circuit.
อยู่ในแถวที่ 4 กันนะครับ
Welcome to everybody who is just joining us on the Thai Super Series YouTube channel, as well as Speed Cafe and Thai Super Series socials. Reese Gardner and David Haynes in the commentary box for you today to bring you the English language stream as we get ready for Thailand Super Pickup Division 1. Now, David, I understand you had a little prediction going that we'd see someone at the back of the field making a gesture pointing forwards. Let's see if you end up being right.
Well, in Division 2, it's a sack, I think. Definitely saw it from Super Eco. The camera will sort of come in the door. Our driver will smile, wave, and then point their hands forward like that's where I'm going. And it worked in Division 2 of Super Pickup stuff here. So I'd give it a go, just personally.
Yes, truck by truck, we go back through the grid here for the main division. The praying hands is a common gesture as well. There's the wave, there's the smile, but no pointing.
Well, we're still a couple of rows from the tail of the field just yet.
Yes, Akelok starting out of 16th place at the moment. There's, 15th. There's your machine, David. Songsak in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand machine. That'll be one to look out for.
Everyone loves the Hilux Champ. Everyone wishes they could buy a Hilux Champ, but if you're not in Southeast Asia, it's not available in Australia or North America or Europe or much of those other markets. It's a unique little workhorse, and in that way it inspires some support.
สตาร์ทในอันดับที่ 18 ครับรถหมายเลข 2 แล้วก็มาที่อันดับที่ 19 ครับรถหมายเลข
Okay,
66
back to 19th of our 25 car grid.
The B-Quik Racing Team ครับรวมช่างเชียงกงมาที่หมายเลข 89 สตาร์ทในอันดับที่
Well,
20
Surachai, give us something.
จ่าฝูงบนคะแนนสะสมใน
A thumbs up works for me.
ป้าย1 นาทีขึ้นแล้วครับ
หมายเลข 91 ครับกับกฤษ
Time's running out for me.
เรามีด้วยกันทั้งหมด 25 คัน
จตุรนต์เอี่ยมรอดครับ
We didn't really place a bet here. Whoa, whoa, okay.
We ran out of time before we could get to the final row of the grid, so we'll just never know, Reese Gardner. We'll just never know.
We'll just never know. Tell you what, the camera guys certainly know how to hoof it.
แหม่กล้องอุตสาห์
Just getting the warning there that all non-driver personnel should be off the grid now as we get ready to run around for the formation lap behind the safety car. Once again, a rolling start for Thailand Super Pickup Division 1. Looking at the back row of the grid there. 93 of Nutanuch Wongsumbun starting in the very last grid slot there. In the subclass A there. So we have Class A bookending this field as they all pull away.
And well, Division 2 is almost entirely an Isuzu D-Max affair, and they do exist here in Division 1. You also see just a little bit more variety. So the Hilux Champ got a Mitsubishi Triton there. We've got 2 current spec Ford Rangers on the grid, and they seem to have done very well for themselves. Aurora Ford Thailand Racing are going to be starting 2nd and 3rd. I think that's about what we're going to get into now, Reese.
Yes, indeed. One more check-in for Chang International Circuit as the sun sets in Thailand. A beautiful sunset indeed. So the trucks do tend to struggle a little bit more with sectors 2 and 3, but in sector 1 they really get some pace on, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of sideways action in the second half of this racetrack, particularly on lap 1. Remember, at turn 3, they're still going to be dealing with some of the dust that's been left over from the oil and fluid drop in the Super Eco race. Speaking of Super Eco, once again, sharing tyres with this particular series. It is the 17 and 18-inch variants of the Hankook Ventus RS4 that are shod on these cars as we go to the grid here. Bandit Ladayem is going to start on pole position for this one. He's got Sandy Stuvik alongside him in the Aurora Ford Thailand Racing Ranger. Jack Lemvard starts 3rd place, and he was posting on the socials about how much of an upgrade he's gotten for that truck. A new engine, more torque. Superchai Kongman starts alongside him. Then it's Thanafon and Chinawut on row 3. Nantawat and Suat on row number 4. Alongkorn Saitung starts in 9th place, and Tanawat Suwanarat is going to round out the top 10 there with Samon, Mapake and Akasit Krinkamol on 11th and 12th. Natawut Frangfrom and Waris Onreab on row number 7. Akilok and Songsak on row number 8. Plenty of machines in this field. Anuwat Manian and Ekasik Namsangpa starting on row 9. Row 10, Chayapon Chantakit and Surachai Fengfong. Jaturon Amrod going to start out of 21st place alongside Chalempon Fonglukin. And then Firawat Pajiachart starts in 23rd place alongside Chanon Rojana. All on his lonesome on the final row of the grid. Nutanuch Wongsumbun in Class A. The top pickup B car is Suat Limjarapanya. And he's got quite a few Class A trucks in between himself and his next closest class competitor. So let's see how he holds up once we get things going here. Camera guys at the ready. The lights are on.
I like that kit.
I certainly do as well. It's gotten very dark indeed. The sun is almost going to dip below the horizon here as we get ready for the start. 12 laps once again for Thailand Super Pickup Division 1. Wait for those lights to go out and we are racing. Sandy Stuvik will try to pressure Bandit Ladayem there, who leads his D-Max into turn 1, but around the outside goes Sandy Stuvik. What a fantastic maneuver there. And he's going to come out in front, but there's a spin in the midfield there. Already some pretty big drama here in this field as that cloud of diesel smoke descends over the circuit here. Jack Lemvard falling back a couple of places. And Sandy Stuvik will hold on to the lead here as the Hiluxes behind, sorry, the Isuzu D-Maxes behind will trade spots for second.
Track limits was Milia's suggestion at turn 1. It's Milia's suggestion at turn 3 again on this opening lap before things eventually settle in. Sandy Stuvik with an incredibly bold move to go from second on the grid and around into the race lead. They arrive at so much speed down at turn 4, and then they need to place themselves for the braking zone at turn 5.
So Sandy Stuvik with a commanding lead for the moment. Superchai Kongman moving up into second place. Seeing more off-track excursions throughout the midfield. Jack Lemvard there in the number 41. And oh dear, it's gone wrong for Nutanuk Juwon starting from the last grid spot. And unfortunately, it looks like his race is over. I'm wondering if that is oil being dropped onto the racetrack there or something else going on for the Hilux champ. That's not looking too good. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but there's plenty of racing going on throughout the back half of this field as they all try to find their own little bit of real estate out here on the racetrack.
The other alternative, of course, is tyre rub after what was a bit of contact between some cars in turn 1. Right in the middle of that would have been where the Hilux champ was.
It was clearly white smoke, so it was coming off the tyres. Command for car number 13 of Chalempon Fongluken to turn on his headlights. Obviously, it is dark at the moment, and so we'll be seeing quite a bit of headlight usage here. Just have a look at the lead that Stuvik has gotten already. He was 1.3 seconds faster than Superchai Kongman around the course of that lap there. The 15 and the 23 now racing, as it looks like Thanafon Chucharonpon has gotten past Chinawuk Lauchin Chart there. Now the power down, use the torque, get the speed up. Lemvard there in the background, right at the back of this pack here. Looks like a bit of black smoke there coming out the back of the D-Max. Wondering how long it's going to take for the first black smoke warning from race control.
When, not if, on that one in a field like this for sure. Lemvard surely can get a couple of spots back, but the racing's ferocious at the moment. Spots are not easy to come by, even if you've got a bit of a speed advantage. It's going to be just a tiny hint to track limits. Now, if you run wide out of that corner and then try to make a pass, that's when you're going to get in trouble, surely. Just don't make it obvious. And is there white smoke coming off Lemvard's car? I think wheel-to-wheel contact could very easily knock some of the guards off. You see there's some non-factory error on a lot of these cars. Those Ford Rangers have got some very lovely fabricated front bumpers, and it's going on for some of the other classes as well. So plenty to keep an eye on through the field.
Up the inside for Thanafon, gets up the inside of Bandit Ladayem, our pole sitter, who now falls back to 4th place. Can anyone catch Sandy Stuvik? That is the big question, because all of these drivers behind him seem a bit more involved with each other than anything else. Superchai Kongman is holding on very nicely in 2nd place. A smooth exit, but it seems that Thanafon is starting a bit of a charge here. See the bonnet's a little bit loose there on the number 15 and the number 7 for that matter. Doesn't seem to be affecting their straight line speed or their confidence all that much. The 2 D-Maxes will continue on through turn 3 as they are, but a late apex from Thanafon there. And he's gotten that momentum nicely out of turn 3. Can he find the space to the inside? No. He's going to have to try around the outside of turn 4. And I would imagine Superchai is going to be a real tough customer to try and get past here.
Well, with the speed that they approach that kink, I think that's a good move because it can allow you to position for the dummy.
Excellent stuff. Great dive up the inside from Thanafon. He just just manages to keep the rear end in check on the exit of the corner as well. This D-Max quartet separating our two Ford Rangers is going to go for a while. That is way off the circuit there for the number 7. And he will resume here, but with a lot of extra momentum into the upcoming corners. Oh, he's having a lot of trouble keeping on the track. Contact from behind. And that induces a bit of a slide there for Thanaphon. Is this going to unsettle him enough that somehow Superchai can get the move done again at the final corner? He's going to try.
Very, very aggressive to use all of that runoff to then carry momentum and leave a mark on the tail of your opponent. And there's more runoff. It's like 3 corners in a row. You'll draw a lot of attention to yourself doing that.
Certainly will. Superchai is really flirting with the limits of grip and the limits of the track itself. And just as I say that, Thanaphon himself goes out very wide. This is once again what happened to both of these two. Superchai, late on the brakes, gives Thanaphon a huge bump, and see the amount of counter steering Thanaphon had to do there. He did well to hold on to that. Back to live pictures at turn 3. And is that understeer there for Thanaphon? He's going to run very wide and off the circuit. Superchai will take advantage. Oh, that's a very loose bonnet there, and that's flipped up in front of him. Got to be careful of that one. It might
The latches are still working, but it's so thin and flimsy that part of it's failed and ripped.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. That might be... Oh, God, they're barely holding on to it. That might be a mechanical black flag from race control. That could be a hazard. If that comes loose, that is very dangerous. That could cut a tire or worse.
This sticker is unsafe and inconvenient, but I sure do love Mobil 1 lubricants. So goes the quote from the film. It is directly in the driver's line of view, into left-hand turns in particular.
Yeah, it's not going to be ideal for Superchai there. Yeah, see the onboard view here. Well, he's staring at his own sponsor there, and I suppose he does have a reasonable view of the racetrack, but will race control see it the same way?
I mean, you got to expect that piece is eventually going to come off, because it was flapping and now it's halfway ripped and now it's moving around. Like, you don't want a piece that size on the racetrack, and that's what we're going to get if it continues.
They always go hell for leather on the exits of corners and these things. So we were just debating it, and it looks like race control has confirmed it. Black and orange disc flag for car number 7. And that's going to be a trip into the pits for Superchai Kongman. Oh, there's a piece flying off. Don't know if that's going to be a hazard for anyone. Looks like Lemvard's about to run over that. But yeah, I would 100% expect race control to say, no, you got to bring it in and secure that somehow. That is a serious hazard.
I wonder if, like, part of the venting is blocked or something. Nice drift, because you can see as that's ripped away, it's exposed the intercooler, which is sort of sitting at a 45-degree angle high up there. Not an uncommon intercooler placement for some cars. Lemvard's been dropping back, and I think he's dropping back even further. That's stupid.
Oh, that's the former race leader.
Fire.
Oh no, Lemvard on fire. So both Ford Rangers with issues. Oh no, disaster for Jack Lemvard in particular. I mean, we'd seen that smoke emerging from his truck that whole time. I wonder if that... Oh, that looks really bad.
It can't have been tire rub. I think it's oil now, and it's coming out and causing fire.
Oh, that's such a disaster for Jack Lemvard. He was very optimistic about this final round of the championship, a new upgraded truck he'd be driving this weekend. Unfortunately, he won't be able to make any use of that. He's officially stopped by the side of the circuit and is out. I'm wondering if this is going to be safety car worthy. Still got to wait for Superchai to come into the pits. There's the 23 finding his way past a Chinawut, followed by the 24 of Bandit Ladayem. And that last lap has completely changed the face of the race. What happened to Stuvik, I wonder?
I mean, we got them confused because Lemvard had already been dropping back. The white smoke, he appeared to be losing a little bit of pace. And then suddenly, from the race lead, Stuvik with some problems as well. So both of the Aurora Ford Thailand trucks almost simultaneously having problems just sort of 5 laps into this race. Thanafon leads in the 15 truck, so this becomes the battle for second and third here. Chinawat in the older spec of Isuzu D-Max and Bandit Lat-AM with a brand new one. Going to be a lot of tape to keep that bonnet down if the latches wouldn't do it. Oh no!
Oh.
I reckon there was a problem with that intercooler.
Yeah, there must have been, and it was that contact that Superchai made on, I believe it was Bandit Lat-AM. No, it was Thanafon that he made rear-end contact with in the final sector. That must have just dislodged something under the hood. And unfortunately, I think that might be the end of Superchai's race as well. So, man, in just... Oh, and that's a 4th truck with problems. The 66 of Chayapon Chantakit. So in just the space of a couple of laps, we have lost 4, maybe 5 of our competitors.
It's just Friday, you know. You've either got to sort that out and get it back out, but that's not great reliability to have for the first race of a big weekend. Still eyes on this battle, sort of second and third.
These two have been going at it now for a couple of laps. The green flag has stayed out. We haven't gone under safety cars, so it doesn't look like there's any actual issue with those trucks that are pulled off to the side. They're far enough away from the racing surface that race control not deeming the safety car necessary. But this fight is going to keep going for a while, as that's a flirtation with track limits from Bandit Lat-AM. Remember, that number 24 starting on pole position for this race. Falling back in those early stages, side-by-side battling further back, the 81 and the 91, Akasit and Jataron, trading places in their D-Maxes. And, I mean, I'm just amazed at how quickly it's gotten so dark around here. We're almost at the point now where we can only see the cars by their headlights. They are dominating the circuit right now, as this fight continues on for 12th and 13th on track at the moment. And it looks like 14th as well, as I believe that's Surachai Fengfong catching up to the back of them. Back to the battle for second, though. How much longer is Bandit Lat-AM going to hold off here versus Chinawat? As it looked like Chinawat was classed ahead at the start-finish line on the last lap. So these guys have been trading spots.
It's been threefold, so just we're approaching the sunset time. At the start of this race, you saw there was some clouds coming across as well, made it get dark quickly. And then third, we put 25 of these things out on track. It's gonna get dark when they started to turn it up. So this is what happened. Perhaps second and third. Right-hander, so I think that's turn 7 or turn 8.
That's turn 3, I think. That's the exit of turn 3.
Well, could be.
Yeah, so Chinawat, I think, ran deep at turn 3, and that allowed Bandit Lat-AM back past. Catching up then to truck number 39, Firawat, in the Mitsubishi Triton.
I've
now has the race leader for
generation wasn't a dual cab. Throwing me for a loop.
Yeah, it's throwing me for a loop as well. Single cab for the most part. These trucks, as the 59's gotten black and white flag for exceeding track limits. That's Suat. Need to be careful of that. But Firawat runs wide to allow our second place battle through as well. And oh dear. So that's truck number 19 there. That's Nanthawat Chamnan, who unfortunately seems to be having his own issues with cooling and such. 16 in 2, that's Akilak Nakad. I'm genuinely surprised at how many trucks have had these reliability issues.
At Bangsen, it felt like they were more reliable than this. Not perfectly reliable, but man, yeah. the question's going to become how many are left on the lead lap by the end of this. The answer is that 2 have pulled off, 5 are currently in pit lane, multiple are laps down, and number 2's going to come back.
Make that 4 cars in pit lane then.
Bandit Ladayem seems to have broken away from this battle in second and third, so whatever it was versus Chinawat, once there's a couple of car lengths in between them, Chinawat hasn't been able to go as closely. Bandit able to take the racing lines that he wants, and of course this becomes the point in the race where you start to maybe pay the price for whatever your starting tyre pressures were.
Yeah, I gotta wonder how much the engineers in this category toy with it, as that's, oh no, more problems. This time for Tanawat Suwanarat. Well, he's
pointing backwards, because that's where he's going now.
Yeah.
And this is a different truck, Kalempon.
Yeah, so was this contact with both trucks involved? Oh, okay.
He's already pulling off there.
Right, yeah. Just trying to get as close to a wall opening and as far off the racetrack as he can within reason. Doing the smart thing there. Another reliability issue, taking another competitor out of this race, as we will have 3 laps to go when they cross the line next. Suat already got a black and white flag hanging over his head for track limits, but he is still chasing the 85 of Alongkon Saitung. Just ahead of them, the number 9 of Samon Mapaki, who rounds out our top 5 as things stand.
The track is being illuminated by brake rotors now, not just the fronts, but also the rears there on the 59 of Suat, who's now up into 7th. I'm seeing of the 25 that started this race, we might be down to 12 or 13 on the lead lap, still with some laps to go, and your race leader Thanapon putting in some quick laps down in that minute 58, so still 10 seconds faster than Super Rico, but not looking any more controlled.
Yeah, I often find that in Division 1 they tend to really rag it on the way out of corners, and there's also a bit more variety in aerodynamics here. You can see the number 88 here of Waris Onreab has no rear wing, but it doesn't seem to be hurting his pace all that much. Meanwhile, Sandy Stuvik and Jack Lemvard in conversation with the Ford Aurora Thailand crew there, figure out what went wrong with their machines a mere few laps into this race. It was a fantastic start for them, but evidently still some mechanical gremlins to be sorted out there for the Rangers.
The almost simultaneous timing of it is outrageous. Somewhere between comedic timing and absolute tragedy.
Yeah, it's walking that fine line.
How do you rate the angle of attack on this aerodynamics?
That will be generating lift. I suppose a big lumbering beast like these trucks, you need the rear end to be as loose as it can be within reason. Otherwise, you're just not going to turn into any corners. So maybe anything you can do to sort of lighten the load on the rear, so to speak, would work out.
Chinawat's found a little bit of speed again, so his last lap was near enough up to a personal best. Bandit Ladayam dropping back a little bit. We were just looking at the aerodynamics of some of the others as well. So 2 laps to go. I still feel like there's a bit in play here for the podium.
Yeah, I think
Get
so
one of these
too.
is Garage 56 at Le Mans. That's what I'm seeing from seeing him race at night.
Well held.
4-man reaction to that kind of slide on this stream. That's premium.
Absolutely, you're certainly getting your worth out of this one. Chinawat, he is pushing hard. He wants to try and catch back up to Ladayem for second. Still got this battle to think about as well between Mapake and Saitung, as we have a truck way off there, I think coming out of pit lane actually after maybe some repairs done. But this fight continuing for 5th place. A brief little look up the inside for Alon Korn, and he sees the door open to the inside. And it would appear that the number 9 of Saman Mapake is able to straight line that exit and take advantage of the torque to stay ahead in the short term, but you can feel the pressure is getting to him a little bit.
So fast turn 4, while it's flat out in Super Eco, is not flat out in these. So if you get a better run through there, you can position yourself into turn 5, which is also a big braking zone. The driver will go defensive. Oh, yep, goes immediately into turn 6. So really setting up some of these lines to just keep the other driver in front, needing to keep defending corner after corner, and then eventually you break down their resistance.
Oh, big swerve there. Looks like Alon Korn is doing everything he can to widen the entries to some of these corners. Our leader, Thanafon Chucharonpon, now will come across the line to take what in the United States would be the white flag, designating the final lap of the race. So, leading by nearly 5 seconds at the line. Bandit Ladayem running a 1/10 of a second faster on that lap, but I think the gap is too big to overcome in a single lap unless there's some kind of technical issue for Thanafon. We've certainly seen that happen for a solid chunk of the field here today. No one is safe. The front of that bonnet's still flapping about a little bit for Bandit Ladayem. Won't be able to convert pole into a win here on the Friday, but maybe he'll have better luck on Saturday and Sunday as the lapped car gets amongst it there with Chinawut. Chinawut's pace looking consistent as well, and he has a gap of about 6 seconds back to Natawut Feng From. Here's a little exchange. It's a long corn getting up the inside of Suat, the inside of Samon, and, well, Samon hit wide. And that might be a move that will be finished in the steward's booth. But ultimately, that's your top 3, separated by a fair amount of car lengths for the moment. Thanafon will get his weekend off to a great start as well. Bandit Ladayem, a consistent drive. May have lost the lead early on, but has maintained second place and maintained reliability in a race that has been defined by whether or not your truck can actually get to the finish. Well, this number 15 certainly has. Thanafon Chucharonpon is your first winner of the weekend in Thailand Super Pickup Division 1. Excellent drive. Bandit Ladayem finishes in second, a mere 2.5 seconds behind. Halved the gap to the lead there. I think Thanafon might have backed off on the final lap. Chinawut Lauchincharter completes the overall podium. Natawut Feng From is your winner of the B class within this field.
Looking like a 25 trucks in a 12-lap race. Only 12 of them finish on the lead lap, with Thanafon many dramas, penalties, damage, mechanical issues happening. So you just need to avoid that happening to you. And for Thanafon, well, very, very pleased.
As he should be. That was a solid drive. Once again, we see D-Max out front of the field and barely showing a hint of trouble, of holding on to the truck. It'll be a well-earned victory for him. That's going to round things off here from Chang International Circuit for day one of the final weekend of Thailand Super Series for 2025. As the sun is now well below the horizon, we are into dusk, almost into night. Thanaphon, Bandit and Chinawut, your podium in Division 1. And they should all be very happy with themselves for their performance. In the end, the best lap of the entire race belonging to Thanaphon there with a 155.465. In B class, Natawut, Suat and Anuat, your podium. And Anuat and Suat coming forward to finish in 7th and 8th overall. So that ultimately is how things stand there, David. They're going to have 2 more races to go over the course of this weekend. Gotta wonder if Thanaphon will be able to maintain that momentum.
Yeah, he gets the fastest lap of the race. It was only 1/10 quicker than Sandy Stuvik's best lap of the race. Stuvik ends up in 20th and Jack Lemvard in 23rd. It was the Lemvard vehicle, I think, that rather than just sort of coming to a halt, looked like there was fire and some concern around it from the marshals with regards to that. So if we see them again, they could certainly contest. Stuvik has some pace, but Thanaphon still, with that win, will claim the fastest lap of the race at a canter.
Certainly will, and I think that really defines what success is in this category, is winning at a canter. The amount of races I've seen in this category now where the leader just runs away with it by the end just goes to show how much it matters to have a well-prepared truck.
He could feel the difference.
The rear wing?
He got out and immediately went to have a look at the rear wing. Like, yeah, about halfway through the race, it started feeling odd in the handling. That's the sort of driver body language I'm seeing from our race winner, that the very first thing he's like, what happened to my truck at some point in that race that made it handle differently?
Yeah, well, don't forget that he did get that little bit of rear end contact, didn't he? That's nice. Bandit Ladayem congratulating the race winner there, congratulating everyone on the podium. Great sense of community in this category. Let's check in with Goody in the pits, and if you can understand Thai, you'll be able to hear what the drivers have to say.
ที่เข้ามาเป็นอันดับ3ในรุ่น overall นะครับแล้วเป็นอันดับ3ของ Class A ด้วยนะครับก็คือแบงค์ชินวุฒิเหล่าชินชาติไปแสดงความยินดีไงครับสวัสดีครับแบงค์ครับโอเคสวัสดีครับเป็นยังไงบ้างครับสำหรับการแข่งขันในวันนี้ก็สนุกมากครับวันนี้ก็ตื่นเต้นครับโอ้โหมันเกิดเหตุการณ์อะไรกันเยอะแยะในสนามในวันนี้เป็นดราม่าหลายจุดหลายเหตุการณ์บ้างนะมีอะไรบ้างที่แบงค์เจอเลยในสนามก็ตอนแรกออกไปผมอยู่ที่5ครับตามไปก็รถเขาก็ค่อยมีปัญหากันบ้างอะไรบ้างก็ตามเก็บไปเรื่อยๆครับพยายามขับให้ประคองให้เวลาเสมอที่สุดครับก็พอใจผลงานในวันนี้ฮะพอใจครับครับก็ได้การบ้านกลับไปเอาไว้สู้ใหม่ปีหน้าครับผมได้ครับว่าวันนี้ประสบความสำเร็จนะครับก็ฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับแบงค์ครับก็ฝากติดตามเชียร์ทีมพวกเราด้วยครับAlpha Factory Racing Team by Palsa ครับผมปิกอัพเบอร์23ครับขอบคุณครับแบงค์ครับชินวุฒิเหล่าชินชาตินะครับอันดับ2นะฮะออกตัวเป็นที่1แล้วก็มีการล่นอันดับไปนะฮะมีการชิงชัยขับเคลื่อนกันไปเรื่อยๆมีรถเสียยังมีสะกิดกันบ้างเราจนวันนี้ได้ที่2ด้วยดีใจมากๆครับความรู้สึกตัวเองเลยเอาจริงๆเลยผมออกตัวไปไม่ดีโดนพี่แซนดี้แซงแต่ผมก็คุมสติตัวเองได้ดีเพราะว่าเราจะพลาดไม่ได้เราต้องคุมสติแล้วเพื่อกลับมาได้แต่บอกตรงๆเลยว่าแม่งโคตรมันทั้งพี่ต้นทั้งพี่เบสทั้งพี่แบงค์แม่งทุกคนแม่งมันหมดโอ้แล้วเกมมันพลิกไปหมดไม่ว่าต้องแซนดี้แล้วก็แจ็คที่มีปัญหาเรื่องไฟที่มันอยู่ข้างหน้า รถเห็นไหมพี่แจ็คไม่เห็นครับแต่เห็นพี่แซนดี้คือพี่แซนดี้อ่ะเบาลงพอเบาลงผมใจชื้นเลยได้เสียเลยอย่างนี้แต่ยังไงก็ขอให้พรุ่งนี้รถสมบูรณ์กันทุกๆคันแล้วมันกันอย่างนี้อีกครั้งครับ
ครับผม
ฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับ
ยังไงฝากเชียร์ตุ่มติ่มด้วยนะครับโฟตอนเลสซิ่งทีมบายอุดอ่องระยององโดขอบคุณพี่ๆทุกคนจานเบสเต้ทุกคนเลย ขอบคุณมากๆครับที่ทำรถให้ตุ่มได้ขับแบบสมบูรณ์มากขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับแสดงความยินดีอีกครั้งครับกับบัณฑิตและดาแย้มและนี่ครับแชมป์สนามนี้ที่ 1 ในคลาส A และ Overall นะครับกับธนพลชูเจริญผล Best Turbo Yam แสดงความยินดีด้วยครับขอบคุณมากครับโอ้โหเดี๋ยวต้องเล่าก่อนความโอ้โหเหนื่อยไหมแต่มาเป็นวันนี้ได้ยังไงฮะรู้สึกไงครับ
โคตรดีใจเลยครับ
แล้วมันมีผลต่อคะแนนสะสม เพราะรถพี่โต้งมีปัญหา กลายเป็นคุณขึ้นมาเป็นจ่าฝูงในวันนี้
ก็นั่นแหละครับ ก็ถือว่าพวกเราทีมพวกเราครับเตรียมพร้อมมันดีครับ ครับก็ผมก็นั่นแหละครับตั้งใจให้มันเป็นแบบนั้น
คือต้องบอกคุณผู้ชมอย่างนี้นะครับใครที่อาจจะยังไม่ได้ติดตามหรือยังไม่รู้เรื่องของเบสเนี่ยในช่วงต้นฤดูกาลสนามแรก3 สนามแรกเบสเล่าก่อนเป็นยังไง
เครื่องพัง3เลสเลยครับไม่จบเลสที่1เลสที่2เลสที่3ก็ได้ที่5มั้งครับครับก็ยังมีคะแนนนิดหน่อยแล้วก็มาได้คะแนนจากสนามบางแสนที่1-2เลสก็เลยแบบตีตื้นขึ้นมาได้ครับ
จนมาสนามนี้แล้วก็ไม่น่าเชื่อว่าก็ขึ้นมาจนถึงวันนี้ได้แล้วบวกกับอาจจะโชคช่วยด้วยเข้าข้างด้วยแหละที่เราก็ไม่ได้อะไรด้วยใช่ไหมแล้วก็บังเอิญว่ารถของพี่โต้งก็มีปัญหาด้วยเหมือนกัน
ใช่ครับก็ถือว่าเป็นความโชคดีของผมจริงๆครับครับ
เพราะฉะนั้นก็ถือว่าวันนี้แฮปปี้สุดๆครับ
เดี๋ยวพรุ่งนี้ก็วัดกันอีกสนามหนึ่งครับ
ครับแต่พรุ่งนี้เราต้องไปอยู่ที่5นะ
ใช่ครับครับดีเวสกิตใช่ครับ
เพราะฉะนั้นเบสครับฝากถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับ
ก็ขอบคุณนะครับ FC ทุกคนนะครับที่ติดตามและเชียร์เบสนะครับก็พวกเราทีมองโดนะครับก็หลายๆคันที่เข้าในโพเดียม1 ใน 5ก็พวกเราหมดเลยครับก็ขอบคุณมากครับ
แสดงความยินดีอีกครั้งครับธนพลชูเจริญผลนะครับและแน่นอนนะครับสำหรับคลาส B เนี่ยที่1นะครับจะเป็นของณัฐวุฒิพึ่งพรหมนะครับที่2เนี่ยนะครับก็จะเป็นของสุวัฒน์ลิมจิรปัญญาพิสุพรรณและอันดับที่3ก็เป็นพี่หนุ่ยนะครับหนุ่ยเปิดสุพรรณนั่นเองนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นแสดงความยินดีในคลาส B ด้วยนั่นเองนะครับแต่ความมันยังไม่หมดเพียงเท่านี้ครับเราไปลุ้นกันต่อในสนามหน้าติดตามกันให้ดีครับกับ B-Quik Thailand Super Series 2025 และ TSS The Super Series by B-Quik พรุ่งนี้มันแน่นอนเดี๋ยวไปพบกับไฮไลท์กันต่อครับ
So that's going to have the sun setting on the first day of action at Chang International Circuit, the Super Series by B-Quik. Absolutely turning it up here on the first day of competition, David. This is just a taste of what's going to come for the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow, we have all the other categories active as well. We got Supercar, GTM, GT4, GT3, etc. And also Super Touring as well, making its way onto the track tomorrow. It's going to be a fun time for all. A very packed weekend to end off the season.
Obviously, for international viewers, GT3 and GT4 is something to look forward to greatly. But last time at Sepang, Super Touring 1 hour race was actually very, very thrilling. We're headed to highlights as the sun set on the track and set on Friday.
Like, this is 40 minutes ago at most, our producer's saying in the background. Still broad daylight. It's amazing how quickly the circuit got dark. So some early dramas there in the opening turns. And this is the point where the rear wing became slightly dislodged for our eventual race winner. And he had to deal with that for the rest of the race there.
Past the slow Sandy Stuvik there, and then this is not Stuvik, this is Lemvard, who had been smoking with white smoke coming out of the right front early on, intercooler damage from that nose to tail contact in the battle for second and third as well.
Yes, plenty of drivers will be unhappy with how their weekend started here, including the driver of the number 22, who simply had to pull over due to a mechanical problem. But it was all in the hands of Thanafon Chucharonpon from that point on. Despite that damage to the back of his truck, he was able to hold on for a commanding victory. It got a little bit leery late on in the race for Samon Mapake in the 9 and Alongkorn Saitung in the number 85. We'll wait and see if race control has anything to say about that incident, but as the night fell here in Buriram, Thanapon Chucharonpon draws first blood in the Thailand Super Pickup Division 1 competition for this weekend. Very happy indeed, and so he should be, as was Bandit Ladayem. Started on pole, finished second, but still very happy to end up on the podium, and a great drive from Chinawad Lauchinchard as well to finish in third. It looks like that is going to bring our English language coverage to an end for today. We thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. English broadcast resuming at bang on midday Australian Eastern Daylight Time. That's 1 in the morning UTC. And Indochina time, Bangkok and Thailand, 8 a.m. tomorrow. So make sure to set your alarms and tune in, and we'll be right here to bring the English language broadcast to you once more for day 2 of the final weekend of the Super Series by B-Quik for 2025. For now, thanks very much for watching. I'm Reese Gardner, David Haynes alongside me in the comms box, and Dan Yeaman helping to bring this footage to you from Chang International Circuit. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.